Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks? Even better.
Since Babel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babel doesn't take long.
And with Babel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Start learning a new language today. Go to Babel.com. That's Babel.com. Babel.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is Kops. Receive 2 $25 gift vouchers for just $25. Kops makes delicious pizza, fresh salads, and tasty charred wings. For the basic menu, click copspizza.com. And for the extended menu, visit them at Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, and the newly reopened 72nd and Jones locations.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
A crossover is
crossover dribble.
Sing for the crossover.
Kyrie Irving, crossover in the lane. One of the most famous crossovers of all time.
Behind the back, an ankle breaker on Chris Paul.
Crossover.
Double crossover.
The crossover continues to evolve.
All right, time for the crossover before Snowtastic Weekend, brought to you by Everlow Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlowconcrete.com. We were worried about your safety last night. As you found out, and I found out coming out of basketball games, there was no snow. It was only cold. And then the whiteness.
It sure
engulfed us this morning.
It was starting to come down about the time I pulled into my driveway. So it was probably about 10:30 last night. I was like, man, I just made it. I hope the Illinois women's basketball team got home safe. I hope the North Dakota squad. Well, they probably took a bus.
Well, because they play in Kansas City.
Oh, so they had to go down.
Yeah, but North Dakota State is in Kansas City, and they have to come up. Maybe not till tomorrow.
Yeah. So there's the huge Iowa Indiana women's game tomorrow.
Big Fox,
on Big Fox. Indiana is not flying to Iowa City until tomorrow morning.
Oh, whoa! Now that's a night game, right?
Right. Show and go.
Yes.
No in and out. No BP. Just show up and play.
Show and go.
Yeah.
Now, come in your jersey.
This is before you guys' time. But Mizzou, when they played at Nebraska, they would just fly up day of the game. They would land out at Lincoln Municipal Airport. Then they would bus to the Devaney Center. Basically, walk into the locker room. They would already be dressed in Columbia. Walk into the locker room, put their stuff down, go out and go through pregame.
That's so fun.
That's so risky.
Well, yes, yes, it is.
No respect.
But it is a slap in the face if Norm Stewart would do this if they beat you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be like, okay.
We're coming
you
in,
guys,
we're coming
you
out.
guys showed up in the Devaney Center at 5:15.
Right.
Yep.
And you just beat us.
Won and then left. And had no words in between. Yeah, that's pretty badass, actually.
It is kind of a baller move, especially when it works out. You're like, you guys spent all this time getting there the day before, going through all this and that.
I wonder what the crowd...
We just show up and beat your ass.
I wonder what the crowd will be like at WWE Friday Night SmackDown
Shafe's
tonight.
Shafe's going to be there.
Nebraska, Iowa? Or
Nebraska, Iowa wrestling.
You've got fake wrestling and real wrestling going on.
My theory is that wrestling people are insane.
They'll be there.
So they'll probably be there.
Yeah, they'll be there.
No matter what.
Well, which one?
Well, mostly Nebraska, Iowa.
It'll be very intense.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we talk about Mr.
Oh,
Beef?
yeah. Let's talk about it.
Josh, you've seen Iron Claw, right?
I have, yes.
Okay, which
I have
think
too.
I think it's a great movie.
Yeah, really well done.
I was fine with it.
Except for Ric Flair.
I was fine with it.
Yeah, the Ric Flair was not close to.
No. I think they just gave him a bunch of Ric Flair lines. It's like, say them.
We've all done a better Ric Flair.
Yeah.
than
But
the Bear's in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's in it, and I mean, his body looks completely different. Zac Efron looks completely different.
He looks ridiculous. I don't even know who that guy is.
Wait,
anymore.
like Zac Efron is even like more built now, or what?
Yeah.
Yes.
So he plays
and
Kevin
more
Von
plastic
Erich.
surgery.
Oh, okay. So he got
Beef
super
guy
yoked
plays
up.
Carrie Von Erich.
Okay.
I mean, if you know the
Beef
story
guy.
of the wrestling family, it's
Carmen.
very sad.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Cousin.
I think Zac Efron should be up for an Academy Award.
Yeah, he did a really good job. There wasn't as much Jeremy Allen White as I would have liked, actually.
No, and when they showed him, because he was he was supposed to make the Olympics, and he was in the year that we boycotted.
Mhm.
That's the first time you see him, and I was like, "Whoa!" I didn't know he was in this movie.
Yeah, it was.
Holy smokes! Yeah, I'm looking. Oh my gosh! Yeah, I'm looking at Efron right now.
It was definitely super well acted. That's for sure. But it was one of those where you're like, it's just a personal taste. Like, I leave the movie theater, I'm like, oh,
You got to put on like 50 pounds.
I'm a sad person. I'm really sad right now at the end of this movie. That was that. It was like the Joker, kind of. That's how I felt walking out of the Joker. I was like, I need to take a shower or like
maybe watch a Will Ferrell movie.
Go watch Barbie or something.
Well, it's a family that's just full of tragedy, and they actually left out one of the brothers.
Yes.
They didn't even touch the storyline of one of the brothers.
It turned him into an amalgamation of two characters, one
Yeah.
character that ended up in the movie. Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, I was like, I went in blind. I had no idea what the family was.
Yeah.
I had no idea what the movie was basically going to be about. And so I was like, oh, well, I don't want to spoil it for people, but there's some tragedy. there's some tragedy in the movie.
I definitely want to see it.
This keeps happening.
Seen it yet.
When I went to see it, I was there was maybe one preview before the movie started.
Oh, nice.
Previews are canceled.
Wow.
I was expecting, because like when you go to a movie theater now, like let's say you get in the movie theater 15 minutes before, there's those promotion videos that are running.
Mr. Marcus
Menounos is
Maria
telling
Menounos
you what is coming up, and then you go into
I like that laugh.
all of like a series of previews. So why don't they do this? And maybe I'm answering my own question, Josh. So let's say the movie starts at 1:30. Technically, it probably starts at 1:45.
Definitely.
Okay.
It throws off your scheduling. Like you need to throw in the extra 20 minutes of buffer.
What people do now is they walk in as late as humanly possible and disrupt me, a prompt moviegoer.
There you go.
With their blanket and
the blankets, yeah.
box
the
of
blankets.
Kleenex, and they're opening up their big bag.
This
and they
isn't
pull
your
out a
home.
hoagie.
Yeah.
It's not your living room.
They got
So what time
they got a foot long sub.
You watch a lot of movies by yourself, right?
Get out there, hoagie.
Okay. What time?
You saw a guy bring out a hoagie in the middle of a movie.
You whip out like a cold cut combo.
Slight exaggeration, but the last time I
Seems
did
to be
go,
a Seinfeld episode.
last time I did go, there was legitimately a woman. She had a blanket, a box of Kleenex, and like she was clearly ill.
It was
so
her
she
living.
needed the Kleenex.
So she was treating the movie theater as her living room.
Yes.
Yep.
I've definitely heard.
So my wife is cool with. She said because the first time I saw a blanket, I go, "Come on, really?" And my wife's like, "No, what's wrong with that?" I'm like, "That's why I said, I'm like, it's not your living room. This is still a movie theater. Why do you need a blanket? Just wear like
some people get
wear a
cold.
hoodie."
There was a lady sitting courtside last night at Baxter, and remember the ice is still down.
Yeah,
and they had one of the doors was open because they were moving stuff in and out, so it was a little bit chilly in there.
Yeah.
She had a blanket. It was not a great look.
A blanket courtside
Because she was covering her legs.
That
up.
is an insane move.
Yeah.
Okay, so what time?
Just use your coat.
What time do you?
Emma
have
Stone
To,
had a blanket last night while she waved at Grayson Allen.
she also had a thing for Grayson Allen.
Sure seemed that way.
That's odd.
Very.
Okay, movie starts at 1:30. If I'm going with you, what time are we in the theater?
I would like to be in my seat 15 minutes before the festivities begin.
You're in your seat at 1:15 for a 1:30.
I understand that it might be deemed the behavior of a crazy person.
Yeah, because you got a half hour before that thing kicks off.
But
I'd say
I'm in radio and you're on time, and
if you're on time, you're late.
Yeah,
I got you.
I'd like to be in the building for a 1:30 start time by 1:20.
Yeah, because sometimes if you're getting some popcorn, lines can be long. You don't know what's going to happen
And
there. Maybe
hopefully in the seat by 1:30.
Yeah, that's kind of my goal. I did
knowing there's some buffer.
I did the exercise of start time to actual air time when we took our son and his buddy to see the Paw Patrol movie. It was closer to 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Well, I think if it's a kids movie, you're getting more ads and more everything.
Yeah, it was like 20 minutes. Yeah. Like, come on now.
See, it's tricky. And then if you bring in a significant other that doesn't get it, and it's either going to a movie early or like to a sporting event.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first time that I went to a baseball game with someone who is not a baseball fan, but we were like on a date.
Okay.
And I said, she goes, well, what time does it start? And I said, well, we call it a first pitch. And I go, it's at 7:05, but the gates open 90 minutes before. And I'd like to go see batting practice, which was a foreign concept.
Yeah.
Like, well, can't we just get there at 7? And I'm like, no. We are not going to rush to get into the stadium. I want to be there to see BP. And she was like, well, I don't know if I'll be ready. And I'm like, it's the morning.
Yeah.
You got 12 hours.
I am absolutely the same as you, but it is definitely very difficult to convince people who don't know what they're looking at or what they're signing up for.
They should get there earlier.
That's the case.
It took a while to train my wife
Yeah.
about my movie going experience, but she has come along and
she knows the routine now.
Yeah, she has adapted.
For sporting events, we just knock out the whole, like, my wife goes along with it now. I'm like, I want to go in early. And she's like, all right, whatever. It's like, I think internally she's probably thinking, why?
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't answer that really. I just kind of like to be in it. Maybe we'll take a lap around.
So what I appreciate about my wife is when we started dating, we would hang around and you guys, Gary, especially, like Phil Manley and Packer and all those guys. So we would hang out after games up in the video room and we'd be able to see kind of the videos and stuff like that. So she actually kind of got into it to the point that she saw how excited like all of us would get over like the intro videos and stuff. So now when she takes our son, she always wants to be in the seat by the time they're rolling out the intro video.
Nice.
Like she doesn't want to wait till like, puck drop or anything. When we go to a basketball game, she wants to see a tunnel walk. She wants to see a starting lineup video because she kind of was around that and saw like the kind of work that goes into it. So she'll even, I don't even bring it up after like the first one of the first, every year has a new one. I'll be like, so what'd you think? She's like, oh, I didn't love it. Or, that one was really cool. And usually like, I'm like right there with her. I'm like, yeah, all right, you get this.
I had a bad football experience with somebody I was dating, not the same one that went to the first baseball game. But we were tailgating outside of a Dolphins game, and I wanted to get in to watch like warm-ups.
Mm-hmm.
It's an NFL game. I want to see like when the kickers are out there and the whole team comes out. But she was like, she didn't get it. We're at this tailgate. And I'm like, no, my dad used to do this to my mom when they had season tickets for Iowa football. My dad would like to be in the stands to watch the specialists come out.
Mm-hmm.
When basically it was him and maybe 1,000 other people at Kinnick Stadium. Yeah. And my mom would be like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Why are we here so early?
Yeah.
Also, it's 40 degrees. And
but my dad, like he ingrained that in me is we're not going to rush to get there. We're going to get in our seats so we can settle in. And I want to watch the guys warm up.
I love not being in a rush.
Same.
Yeah, exactly. And not being elbow to elbow with everybody trying to squeeze through like the turnstiles and stuff.
Hey, but we all have that friend that either does it in Lincoln or a movie theater, whatever. They've got it down to a science where they can chug their last beer at 2:15, and they know how long it takes them with traffic to get from their car tailgating to their entrance into the stadium.
Yep.
And so that boom, at kickoff or when the team's running on the field, they're in their seat.
Talk to any Creighton basketball season ticket holder. They got that thing to a science. How many steps is it from the front door of DJ's dugout to my seat? All right. How much time do I need? I need 8 minutes. Perfect. I will do that, and I will be in my seat promptly at 1:08 p.m. for a 1 o'clock start. That gets flexed out to 1:11.
I used to think that you could do that at the rail yard, but it's getting tougher because it's not as quick to go through the main entrance.
That
of
front
PBA.
door is loaded.
Why is that the only entrance to PBA?
It's not.
Well, I know up on the ramp, up on the side, there's another one.
If you take the extra steps to go up the ramp and over on the back side, you can get in way quicker. That's my little PBA secret for everybody.
Yeah.
But they don't ever tell people that. They tell
They
them,
do
come
not.
to the main entrance of PBA.
Yeah.
So you got 14,000 people are trying to go through 4 doors.
Yeah, it's very odd. I don't know why. If it's me, like, you're trying to scan, you're walking into a game at the K or whatever, and you're scanning all the security lines. It's like, which one's going to go the fastest? You're looking at the people who are wanding you, and you're like, all right, this guy's like 86 years old. It's going to take a long time.
This person looks like they've never been to a game before.
Yeah, yes, exactly. There's like 100 people in this group.
Big bag in front of me.
So, like, if it's me and I'm walking up to PBA and
The kind of person
I
that writes a check at the grocery store.
exactly, you got to look at that too.
Yeah,
and I see that door on that back side, and there's nobody going up there. Like, I'm there. I'll take the extra steps.
Matt chimes in, Josh. You'll be able to relate to this one too. He says, with kids, I show up exactly the time of the movie, meaning if it's 1:30, I buy tickets at 1:30, then buy popcorn, get in seat. Technically 5 minutes late. I do this because I have a 7-year-old and their attention span isn't long. So
Apparently things change when you have children.
That is the thing too. You got to, like, for yourself, it's like, I can be here and I can be patient with the ads and everything, but trying to rein in the kid before the actual distraction, the main distraction takes place, can be a bit of a chore.
Also, I don't care. If I miss something, I'll catch up.
Yeah, right. It's very true. So yes, Matt, point well taken there.
Plot's not going to lose me in the first 5 minutes.
Right. Yeah, that's probably another thing to factor in.
So it's probably also a good thing that on Cheap Tuesday at Exarban Cinema, you're not there for the 1:30 flick and trying to get the $2 popcorn and $2 soda, because
there's one guy working the counter,
and there's
a lot of
the
elderlies.
Silver Sluggers have taken in.
The Silver Sluggers.
Then the next day they go, which I didn't know was a thing, but then they end up at where's the Wednesday joint with the Silver Sluggers?
Storm Chasers.
No.
Silver Chasers?
Restaurant. Bang Bang Shrimp.
They go to
PF Chang's?
No.
Why am I just blanking on that place?
Bonefish.
Yes.
So-
apparently that's a Wednesday Silver Slugger joint, according to Gary.
That's awesome.
So Bonefish is a place for Silver Sluggers to hook up.
Yeah.
Hell yeah!
Apparently, I didn't know this till Gary dropped this on
Wednesday
me.
happy hour is like a thing, and it goes from 4:30 to 6:30.
Oh, that's sweet.
Not only you get discounts on drinks with the Bang Bang Shrimp, is a little cheaper.
Like if you're looking for a sugar
bang,
daddy,
bang shrimp and then a bang bang shrimp.
there's some, there's some sugar
right?
daddies that hang out at the bar. Retired. They got a nice little portfolio. They're just looking for some company.
So some sugar daddies, do they have some like younger companions that are with them, or is it Silver Slugger
No,
on Silver Slugger?
I was oblivious to this. I went to a group dinner with some friends, and they were like talking about happy hour, and then the waitress explained that we have a little bit older crowd, and between 4:30 and 6:30 there's single to mingle.
It's like speed dating,
but no, it looks like it's mostly
just not as fast.
Mostly single. It's nice. It's little bang bang strip. You
got to play your audience.
Yeah, and then people are leaving, and I'm glad. Everyone should be happy.
In bed by 7. With who? Depends on how the night went.
That's what I'm talking about. Eating dinner at 4:30.
Yeah,
sign me up. I am all the way in on that.
Well, then you're going to be retiring in Florida.
Oh, I'd like to go,
because I'm telling you, that's not a myth.
At the Bonefish Grill
during season, 4:30 to 5:30 is like the prime time. But when you are a year-round resident and you in July want to go get a table at 5, no problem. 4:30, 5:30, you're going to wait a couple hours.
That's awesome.
Amazing Daniel says, wife loves football, hockey, and baseball games, but isn't a basketball fan. However, whatever time I want to go, her only question is, can I get a beer and a pretzel there? If the answer is yes, arrival time is whenever I want.
Yeah.
There you go. Hey, you know what, Amazing Daniel, you got a good one there too.
Absolutely.
Well, they have this little trick called happy hour that, hey, we'll have $1 beers at 6. So we know we might have a large crowd. We'd like you to be in the arena so there's not a rush.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little trick.
Wonder how the beer sales are do you ever, when you go to the men's basketball games at Nebraska, Gary, do you ever see how many people do you see with beers?
Nope. Even the other night against Purdue, it's not like it's prevalent.
I saw a lot. So on the TV broadcast, and now this was towards the front row and stuff, I saw a lot of high noons. Are people drinking a lot of high noons at the Husker basketball games?
Sure.
Yeah, there was a high noon.
Basketball brought to you by High Noon.
It was a high noon crowd.
I give credit to because you're kind of you're in the know here with women's and kind of their logistics. Their distribution areas are a lot better this year.
Yeah. No, I think they've done a pretty good job of correcting all that, but maybe people got so scared away by the lines last year.
I don't know. It's not.
They got John Taffer in there.
It's not like you're passing people and they're carrying they're double fisting.
No,
I guess I don't.
At Creighton, they are though.
Yeah.
I saw one person last night with a beer at the game. Now there wasn't that many people at the game, but literally one, and I was scanning for it for a while. I'm like, where's the beer at? Let's find out. One guy with a beer. One guy with a beer. You know who you are.
Hey, he was.
Hey, why don't
he was there to party?
Why don't you ever see either, mostly on TV, you see the pictures of all the fans that sit courtside? You never see them drinking or eating.
No, but I'm always amazed.
Not
that
eating, no.
I mean, I would think
always
a guy
amazed
like
that there's
Seth Henry
not-
at the men's games would be just pounding beers.
That guy is awesome.
Every now and then, I'll see someone with like a plastic cup, like a draft beer, but never eating. You're right about that.
At Nebraska, and they have this at Creighton too, obviously, but there's an area where they can sit down and eat. That's where they get their stuff from, so they probably just take care of it.
Hell no, if I'm sitting courtside, I'm bringing that with me.
But I'm always surprised that there's not more spills.
Yeah.
There's not more spill.
Because we're adults, Connor. We know how to handle our alcoholic beverages.
Amazingly,
I know.
That's
The only
an
spills
upset.
are created by LeBron knocking over a waitress accidentally.
Yeah. Quote accidentally.
So you're speaking of you can go to the Lexus Club and hang out.
Right.
They are building, I think it's for next year, another courtside
Yeah,
club.
or floor level. Yeah.
So they
floor
have
level,
they have a makeshift one down there now.
Yeah.
And people will pack in there.
You know what I always like? Now, are they still doing this at the men's games where they kind of had that little beer garden behind one of the buckets there? See, I like that. That was kind of cool. It was kind of like a beer garden on the floor level. You can't obviously build a floor level suite, so you kind of have the next best thing.
It's the Bud Bar, baby. Why do they not turn that whole area on the north side into PBA into that? People kind of standing up there.
Yeah.
You know what?
Just
that's a
beer
good
stands
question.
everywhere.
I thought that always would be.
Okay, but I
eventually.
thought when they opened up that building, that was where they could add more seating if need be.
Yeah.
Instead of being open on that end.
Because
Yeah, if
that's
you
how
wanted
they
to,
did it at CHI at first, the Quest Center, when they added all those seats.
If you wanted to host an NCAA tournament and you needed a certain capacity, you could put more seats in there too.
Probably is the case.
Yeah.
Probably is the case still, but we haven't crossed that bridge yet.
But that's a good question because they have a couple of concession stands, but it's so just wide open in the end where they have the retired numbers up on the wall.
Yeah. Put a good bar.
And they have that god awful Pepsi banner.
Just put a just put a giant front with beer, just like they have in Omaha. Bunch of taps, people get them in and out.
There's
they can stand up there and hang out.
There's a cool sort of little bar at Amsoil Arena in Duluth where they play hockey, where it's just like a little platform, and obviously it's got like wires so no one spills over, but it actually kind of jets over the ice a little bit.
Oh,
it's pretty cool.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, and I know when Omaha was making the venue scout at a bunch of different places, I know at one point when Mike Amundsen was there, they were talking about how they wanted to kind of do something like that at Baxter, and they never really did it. I think instead they kind of settled on the Blue Line Club bar, but
which is nice.
It's really cool. There wasn't a lot about Amsoil that was awesome. It's a newer arena, but that part I thought was really cool. I wish to see more of that.
I was like watching the Tampa Bay Rays games at the Trop where they have those cocktail tables. They're basically on the field down the left field line.
Yeah.
It's that's pretty sweet.
You can.
It's a good spot.
It's also a group area, so you can reserve that for a party.
Yeah, it's like the dugout suites that they have.
I bet it doesn't cost that much too.
It probably doesn't.
No.
You can get as much paella as you want there too.
Ooh.
I'm surprised that you have never gone in with your buddies and got one of the dugout suites at the K.
I have. I didn't have to pay for it.
Okay.
But I got dugout suite tickets once. It was very cool. It was very cool.
Can you really enjoy the game? Because
it's very
at an
different.
odd angle and
it's super different. And you kind of have to stand the whole time because the seats are so low inside the dugout that you can't really see from your seat at all unless you want to just look at the top of the field the entire time. But yeah, but it's good. You can kind of move around, and then there's an area behind the dugout suite. It's kind of how it looks like in the suites upstairs where they have like a kitchen and a fridge and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. I don't know how much they cost. I don't know how much they go for, but like if you can get 15, 20 people together, I think it's probably worth.
It'd be fun just to experience it.
Yeah.
Like those ones that we talked about this with the AT&T Stadium behind the sidelines there, but
the new one in LA too.
Like Cleveland has this at Progressive but you're kind of below the field. I wouldn't enjoy that.
It's definitely different.
Like watching a baseball game where I'm not on the same level as I feel like I'm below it.
Well, how about at Texas, the new Rangers Stadium?
Everybody's below.
Yeah, that's weird. I wouldn't like that.
So the thing that I was most amazed about in that dugout suite is that if you stand there in that corner, I think there was a pop fly, just behind third base and in foul territory. Like it's disorienting because players go behind you to field the ball. Like you're jutted out in play.
Yeah.
And so they were playing the Rangers and Adrian Beltre comes over and makes a catch behind us. I'm like, oh, whoa, that was kind of crazy. I feel like I could have affected that play in some way.
I'm in my seat, right? I'm not interfering. Yeah.
Pretty cool. It's good. It was good.
Did you heckle? Did you interact with the third base coach?
I wanted to try and touch Adrian Beltre's head.
That probably would not have ended
He probably would have punched me in the face.
Adrian Beltre, no doubt, first ballot Hall of Famer.
It seems like it.
We're week and a half away.
You look at his career. I mean, 3,000 hits. Did he hit 500 home runs? Let's see.
He may have gotten to 500 at the last year of his career or the last 2 years of his career. I think he's an automatic first ballot guy.
477.
Okay. He should have not retired.
477, 3,100 hits. Never won an MVP. Got a couple World Series. No, wait, did he win any World Series?
Well, he was on that Texas team in 2011 that
famously did not win the World Series.
Yeah, that David Freese messed up.
Yep. Mm-hmm. 4-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glove, 4-time Silver Slugger, 2-time Platinum Glove. Oh. Yeah, that's not first ballot. It doesn't scream first ballot, but 3,000 hits is going to get you there at some point.
Yes, it will.
So I think
let's do that today. That could be our show today.
So
Hall of Fame candidacies.
I'm there.
I have committed to going to Cooperstown when Joe Mauer gets in.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. That's awesome. Have you been?
Yes. So I went the year that Brett, Robin Yount, and Nolan Ryan went.
Oh, nice.
I went that year.
I haven't been.
Awesome.
I went one time. It wasn't on induction weekend, but we just went, and it was so cool. It was really, really cool. I'd like to go on induction weekend.
It's amazing. It's pretty cool. I mean,
maybe when Bobby Witt Jr. gets in
Cooperstown. I hope that's not for a long time. Cooperstown period is like just unbelievable that the town is so small and they've got baseball Hall of Fame.
The whole thing is baseball
at the end of Main Street,
and it's like in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. You have to make a trip to get there.
Yeah,
you go summertime, you can stop off at Saratoga and bet on the ponies, and then head over to Cooperstown.
Wow.
So I went then, but because knowing the family, I am going to go maybe this summer if he gets in. I've been tracking people who've turned in their ballots. Mm-hmm. He might be in line to go in this year.
I think he probably.
Which I thought it might be like next year.
Let's see the Hall of Fame tracker right now.
It's not a huge class.
No, but there's still some roid guys that are hanging around.
So ballots known, almost 40% of the ballots are known at this point. Joe Mauer easily in the threshold right now. Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, Todd Helton, Billy Wagner, and Gary Sheffield all trending yes.
Oh, okay.
At the moment.
Now see if that all came to fruition, there would be huge crowds because those guys played for some pretty passionate fan bases.
That's a good class, and that's 5 people. We don't see 5 people go in very much. It's usually just 1 or 2. Andrew Jones is close.
Andrew Jones.
Come on.
Center field.
God, it seemed like that's a long time ago that he played.
It does.
Now that his son is.
Yeah.
How many years of A-Rod do we have left on the ballot?
Center field.
He's not trending very well.
What about Clemens?
Clemens, I think, is off.
Is he off?
I think
now
Clemens,
Bonds is still on there, right?
I think Bonds fell off.
Okay.
Because he ran out. You get to be on there for 10 years,
I think,
right?
Wasn't Bonds and Clemens the same time?
Did they fall off? I think they're probably the same year. Yeah. Guys that will also fall off this year as the way it trends because they didn't get enough votes. Here we go. Torrey Hunter, Jose Bautista, Matt Holliday, Bartolo Colon, James Shields. I want James Shields to get one Hall of Fame vote from somebody. Can somebody give James Shields one Hall of Fame vote? That's all I want. Like Darren Erstad got a Hall of Fame vote.
Yep.
Yeah, he did.
Get James Shields one Hall of Fame vote. Jose Reyes, Brandon Phillips, Victor Martinez, Adrian Gonzalez, also 0 votes.
What team is James
Jose
Shields
Bautista
best
will
known
fall
for?
off after this year.
James Shields is a Ray, but I will always remember him as a beloved Kansas City Royal for those 2 years.
Not as a Chicago White Sox.
Definitely not. As the guy who got traded for Fernando Tatis. No.
It didn't work out so well.
No, that wasn't good. That was not so good. Also, James Shields, the guy who gave up the home run to Bartolo Colon.
Oh, good call.
That
Yeah,
might
good
be the
call.
other thing that James Shields is most known for.
What uniform would a Johnny Cueto go in?
Johnny Cueto
He's not going to go in, but if he did,
he's a red.
I think it's
to me.
Cincinnati
Johnny
Reds,
Cueto
yeah.
sounds like a red.
I feel red.
He had a great Royal moment.
he did. And I think he is still on. Is he still on the Giants active roster?
Oh, hey, he's
No,
going to pitch
he
for
was a
somebody this year.
Marlin last year.
Oh, that's right.
I kept seeing his name pop up. Like he's out there. He's available. Someone get him to throw 150 innings for him this year. Yeah, he was a Marlin last year. He must be a free agent right now.
So, what do you think they will do down the road on the weekend that Ohtani goes in?
Oh man,
I don't know if this Cooperstown, New York, can handle
Yeah.
Ohtani going into the Hall of Fame.
yeah, it's probably not set up for that.
Well, he's got to defer it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Right.
They've got time. They've got time to figure that
That's
out.
funny, Josh.
You would have a country would try and come to the U.S.
Yep.
to see him inducted.
Well, they would all fly into Toronto. They would all fly into Toronto, and then they would just they would have to be some sort of a service or bus service that could get everybody over to Cooperstown.
Oh, that would be all day, all night.
Cooperstown population 1,867.
Yep.
It's about
Might not have the infrastructure.
Yeah.
The year I went,
They got
and
time.
that was a great group to go in, they were overwhelmed because there were a ton of Ranger fans. There were a lot of Royals fans. Brewers fans were there. The one thing that they missed out that probably would have been the largest is Jeter was the COVID year.
Oh, yeah.
They delayed
huge.
his ceremony, but
Yeah.
he was going to go in, and they would have had they would have had they would have had 250,000 Yankee fans.
Josh, how big did you say Cooperstown is population wise?
1867.
1867. Let's look at a Nebraska town that's close. What if the Baseball Hall of Fame was in Takema?
Great comp. Great comp.
Well, all the
Takema population 1847.
all the folks in Herman would be very happy too, in the neighboring county there, neighboring town.
Takema, Syracuse, Tecumseh.
What's North Bend? North Bend's just a little over 1,000. Are they close to 2,000?
North Bend, 1250.
Okay,
much
12.
smaller
Yeah.
than Cooperstown.
So you couldn't have it in North Bend.
No.
This is a great discussion of just randomness of somebody when this got started way, way back in the day thought,
what were we thinking?
Takema, Nebraska is a good spot.
Yeah. Oh, there's history there.
Spot. This is
Because you are right. Cooperstown is in the middle of nowhere. It's not easy to get to. It's
No.
not like you fly into New York City and then, an hour later you're at Cooperstown. You wind your way through these 2-lane highways up in the hills of upstate to get to, central upstate New York to get to Cooperstown. Takema, Nebraska, the home of the Baseball Hall of Fame.
I could see it. If you need a
Why
new
not?
location,
Let's
why
just get
not?
random with it.
Maybe we lose the College World Series down the
But we
line
get-
at
we
some
get the
point.
Baseball Hall
We
of
get the
Fame.
Baseball Hall of Fame
Yep.
at Takema. It's a perfect city for it.
Got to make the annual pilgrimage out to Takema.
Or Bennington.
Hey, now do
Bennington's Omaha.
Hey, now
Completely
do
different.
Laramie, Wyoming, the equivalent in Nebraska of having a Division I athletic program.
Josh, give me the population of Laramie, Wyoming.
I think it's 13,000.
Oh my gosh, so that would be less than Columbus.
It might be a little bit larger. I might be off. It might be 30,000.
31,659.
Okay, so that would be
about Kearney.
Yeah, that'd be
Okay, so that would make sense to have Kearney having a Division I Mountain West program.
because Kearney's right about.
Make the Lopers Division I.
Is Kearney closer to 40,000 though?
Yeah, well, I don't know how.
I know Grand Island. I want to say is like almost 80.
This is data from the 2022 American Community Survey.
Okay,
So this is pretty up to date.
Okay.
Kearney 33.
Oh, 33.
8.
Okay.
Yes.
What's Grand Island? Are they like 80?
52.
Okay. I thought they were like 80.
Hastings 25, Norfolk 25, Fremont 27. This is a real battle in there. We get a lot of. We got Fremont, Norfolk, Hastings, Columbus, Papillion.
All
Doesn't really
around
count.
20ish.
North Platte. Yeah, they all kind of they're fighting.
Yeah.
They're fighting for it.
I mean, I lived 6 years in Columbus. I felt like that it was not quite 20, and yet it was a little over 20.
Put
was like 15.
put the Hall of Fame at Glur's.
Oh, Glur's Tavern. Oh, hell yeah!
That could be like
you
a
can
Hall
still
of
get
Fame.
old style on tap there.
It's a Hall of Fame burger.
Yeah, hell yeah! You
So
want a burger?
why outside of the Hockey Hall of Fame are no Hall of Fames in large cities? The Hockey Hall of Fame's in Toronto, but basketball's in Springfield, Massachusetts, where, I mean, there's a connection there.
Mm-hmm.
Football's in Canton,
Mm-hmm.
which it's not like it's a suburb of Cleveland.
Right.
I don't know why. That's a good question. I'm not sure why we did that as a society.
Yeah, I don't either.
Why did we put it in random small towns?
Like when you think of baseball, you think of small town USA. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, there's definitely a nostalgia about Cooperstown.
Yeah.
But Canton and football
in that town, I imagine.
Hey, permanent bunding.
Yeah.
So they have. Connor's been there. You probably saw it. It's pretty cool because it actually is Main Street. It feels like small town America.
It is.
But they have all these card shops. These baseball card shops
But a lot
that
of
are
wood floors.
and like 5 and dime stores.
Yeah.
And then they have the stadium that is down the street from where the Hall of Fame is.
Like
now, the
there's
Hall
no-
of Fame is large.
There's no like gentrified restaurants. You know?
No.
There's not. It's all nostalgia.
A lot of barrels holding the front door open.
There should be like a big there should be like a big restaurant called Hall of Famers.
Hall of Famers.
Like, yeah, we're gonna go to Hall of Famers.
Like, what do the Hall of
afterwards.
Famers do with like where do they go to dinner?
Yeah.
Well, they
Do
have
they
that big
serve
they have that big resort.
Oh, okay.
That big hotel resort.
It must be out of town. Kind of.
No, it's on the edge. It's out by the lake.
Okay.
And I only know this. We had our organization in baseball had one of our end of season meetings there.
Nice. That's
Because Mike Veck has a special place in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
I bet Mike Veck
And so
does.
they had a ceremony one night, a private ceremony. So we all got to go to the Hall of Fame while it was closed, which I was like,
That's
"Oh, this is
amazing."
unreal.
Yeah.
But I know that's like a resort on
Okay.
the outskirts of town where people stay.
I think they had.
But
Like
you're
a
right. It's
4-star
not.
hotel.
They have to bring a lot of people in.
Right.
Yeah.
Many people quick to point out to us rubes that Canton is basically where the NFL started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're more curious about Cooperstown.
But like
Any town
But you know
USA.
what? The College Football Hall of Fame's in Atlanta. College football did not start in Atlanta.
College Basketball
It
Hall of
was
Fame, Kansas City.
perfected in Atlanta, though.
What's the deal with Kansas City?
SEC.
How'd Kansas City get the College Basketball Hall of Fame?
Because they built the T-Mobile Center.
What's that have to do with anything?
They had space.
They don't play college basketball there except for the Big 12 tournament.
Doug McDermott is on the facade of the College Basketball Hall
He's
of Fame.
still on it.
Last time I was down there, he was.
He was on it.
Nice.
He was on it like 7 years ago. Last time I was there.
But it doesn't get promoted very much. Like
No,
if you're
the college
if you're not down on the
basketball,
Power and Light,
Right.
do you know that the College
Right.
Basketball Hall of the
No. You don't think when I'm going to Kansas City, I'm going to hit
Yeah.
the College Basketball Hall of Fame?
No.
and it's a really cool place. I mean, what they should do in Kansas City is they should combine with the Negro League Museum, which is a fantastic
Amazing.
experience. You get two museums for the price of one.
Oh, there you go. A little
Oh,
double dip.
I was like, well, you could used to do that with Worlds of Funds and Ocean Funds. you get the two parks for the price of one. That
And
was
we'll
great.
throw in lunch at Arthur Bryant's.
Oh, there you go.
Abner Doubleday reportedly invented baseball in Cooperstown.
So Abner
Oh,
they
Abner
have
Doubleday.
Doubleday Field
That's
where they
that's a-
they
Abner-
still play games.
Okay.
yeah. They used to have a Hall of Fame game where they'd bring two major league teams in there and play an exhibition game.
Which, if you saw the field, you'd be like, "How?"
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember when we were playing a tournament out in Dyersville, everybody thought we were playing these Legion games at the Field of Dreams. The original. I'm like, no, like
You can't play there.
an infield pop fly would go into the cornfield. Like
Right.
it's not happening that
It's
way.
got no grass on the infield.
Yeah.
The backstop is 10 feet behind home plate.
Yeah, there's a lot of guidelines that would not be followed there as far as basic principles.
From John Thune sucks nuts on Twitter.
I love that
it's been a while.
Sparky Anderson is in the Amateur Baseball Hall of Fame in Lake Norden, South Dakota, 20 miles from my house. You would, if you see the place, 607 people is the population.
Awesome.
That's the Amateur
I mean, it's
Baseball
great.
Hall of Fame.
I don't think we need to move in the big cities. We're just kind of wondering why.
It'd be nice if there was a twofer. I could tell my wife, hey, if you give me 6 hours here, I'll go to the
Les Mis,
whatever the hell you want to go to.
Here's the most random one-man museum.
Aside from the Bigfoot.
Yes.
Yeah,
went into a mall in Fargo, North Dakota, and as I was walking into the mall, there's a Roger Maris.
Oh, yeah,
museum,
because he's in North Dakota, yeah.
and it's in the mall.
Oh.
Nice.
Is the bat in there?
Everything is in there. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But you're like,
that's
whoa.
Random.
There's a H&M right there, and there's Roger Maris.
Roger Maris.
Right now, it's one of the I can't remember the exact name. It's one of the main malls there in Fargo, or the only main mall off of 29.
If you ever are lucky to fly into Minot, North Dakota,
here we go.
You will know that
I
that
use those
airport
words together.
they do. They have a regional airport, and they take a lot of pride in being the birthplace of Phil Jackson and the home of Phil Jackson.
Oh, I bet they do.
Yep. You would think it's not a museum or it's not any type of
you just know.
You know in multiple areas while you're waiting for your luggage.
That's awesome. It just reminds us once again, will we ever get the College Baseball Hall of Fame in this town?
We should.
Yeah.
Remember that was a discussion?
Mm-hmm. Which I believe that's in Kansas City?
I think it's in Lubbock.
Lubbock?
What?
Texas?
I believe it's in Lubbock,
Is
Texas.
it really? It makes zero sense.
Or that's where the banquet is every year.
Let's
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's a Lubbock,
Lubbock.
Lubbock, Texas.
On the campus of Texas Tech.
Wow.
But this is so
how'd they
it
pull
was
that
Kyle
off?
Is that the first
Peterson-
college
it was Kyle
baseball game
Peterson
ever?
who was going to work on bringing it here. I don't know where that has gone. But this whole discussion about Hall of Fames and the high school Hall of Fame down in Lincoln is awesome, right there by Haymarket Park and Bowling Stadium.
Yep.
It just continues a point that all of us have made is why does the University of Nebraska not have a Husker football Hall of Fame?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And there's not even, I haven't seen a mention of it in the new stadium at all. Like no room to put a Hall of Fame in.
I think we talked about this before, but like when they repurpose all the stuff in West Stadium, like maybe, you could put something up there, but like, I don't know why.
Yeah, even
just for people to walk through, maybe charge them. You could charge them a couple bucks if you want to.
When Penn State upgraded the one side of their stadium, they put in their football Hall of Fame. I've seen it. It's cool. Nebraska it's small, but it's there. You don't have to do anything like gaudy. Just have something. Yeah,
seems easy.
What they should do
didn't
is
take up like absurd amount of space either.
I'm not there to spend their money, but what they really should do is hire Mike Babcock to be like the archive of Husker football, because there's a lot of people that know stories and have access to media guides, programs, jerseys, all that stuff that are a little bit older. And, there's so much stuff that's been thrown away that I know of.
I know. Like
pictures that ended up at some random, basement on the campus.
I mean, John does a pretty good job of this, but archives of radio calls and video, the little video that we had from during that time, like that stuff is awesome. We need to have it all in one place. That would be fantastic. But we have what we have. We have Husker tapes and we have Mike Babcock.
Does Creighton have a Hall of Fame?
Yes. I mean, I don't know if they have a physical Hall of Fame. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's actually a good
But it's
question.
not like when you walk around the concourse at CHI, there's like a history of Creighton men's basketball.
Definitely not there. No, it's not
They
there.
could do what they do in the concourse at TD Ameritrade or the Schwab.
They could.
And just kind of have some plaques on the wall as
Now,
you go about.
They still have
when
the
when
Mutual
men's
of Omaha.
basketball was playing at the Devaney Center, they did a great job of like the history of Nebraska basketball. Like they had the 4 big corners where they had the concession stand, and then they would have pictures that would line the concourse.
None of that at PBA either.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising.
It's just odd.
The only place they have it is if you go to the Hendricks facility, they have like the history of Nebraska men's basketball. But how many people just say, you know what, this is a good day just to go over to the practice facility.
Go visit that.
Right. Well, yeah, that's the other thing with the football stuff. Like all the history of it, whatever they have displayed, it's just scattered in random places.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what's this? Oh, this is where you have the national championship trophies. That's cool.
Oh, you mean the Heisman room?
Yeah.
You mean I can't?
But only recruits get to see that.
You just can't walk down the hallway outside of the weight room and look at all the All-American pictures and then turn and go towards the locker room and there's more. I mean, you can't do that.
Asian Joe says, I feel like we should have had Nickelback's photograph playing underneath this entire conversation.
Hello.
Well played, Joe.
No,
it's a good idea.
It would be a money maker. There wouldn't be a ton of overhead.
And you're right. You don't have to charge that much, like a couple bucks.
Quick question before you go, Gary. This comes from a listener. Free playoff tickets for your team, but you have a -30 wind chill and a 3-hour drive ahead of you.
I would
take it.
If they were playing Sunday, I was going.
But they're not.
But I have
a
basketball game at the same time tomorrow night.
Would you, if just say you didn't and you were
Yes.
you had free tickets?
Yes. I would load up on memory foam and cardboard.
Yeah.
And I would wear my Carhartt overalls and I would be loaded up.
Yeah.
Okay. I would agree with you.
Coveralls are a must.
I would agree with you personally. And you go through that hell and then you have all the stories on the backside.
Beer slush.
Hopefully you don't lose.
I remember that 2-yard run by Isaiah Pacheco.
Well,
followed by that 3-yard run.
I remember when Tyreek Hill dropped that
I
key
watched
pass.
from afar when it was 75 where I was living at the time. How many did you have this discussion about going to the Nebraska-Oklahoma Big 12 title game at Arrowhead?
I was at that game.
Okay. And?
It was unpleasant. I was about 2 or 3 rows from the top.
Oh, yeah.
None of it seemed worth it in the end.
Yeah. That was probably biting.
There are still people
there.
that tell me stories about that went to the game that the first time they thawed out is when they got off of 29 to head back to Lincoln at the Nebraska City exit.
Uh-huh.
And there's a convenience store. And it seemed like, like when you drive a little bit into town,
Mhm.
that everybody had stopped there, but everybody's face was like frozen.
Still.
I
Yeah.
remember how cold my feet were because there was, I don't know if it was ice or snow on the cement, and you're standing on it for hours.
Mhm.
I still remember how cold my feet.
There's a warmth when you get around, 60,000 of your friends.
Yeah, but if
Get
you're
a couple brews in you.
2 rows from the top.
I don't think I was old enough to drink.
Yeah. It's
Last year, you remember the Wisconsin game last year was miserable.
Yep.
In Lincoln.
I always think about the 2015 Iowa game. That was one of the worst experiences
In Lincoln.
And it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's not like it was -30 that day. It was just blowing snow everywhere.
Oh, and you had ice on your seats.
Yeah,
But
that
you,
was the worst
and you
part.
probably stood for the entire game.
Mm-hmm. As soon as
Well,
you sit
Tommy
down,
Armstrong was throwing those interceptions.
hero ball.
If
500.
you would only have seen Ethan Carter on the other side of the field,
I know.
what a difference that would have made.
He was so open.
So, my friend is going tomorrow night, and he is loaded up on cardboard. But he told me yesterday, because I was telling the story on air, because I hadn't heard of the cardboard thing, is you put it down, you stand on it, and take care of your feet. He said, I've looked this up. He went and got the memory foam.
Yeah.
He said that will help with your feet.
Probably does
Oh,
the
yeah.
same thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I never heard of the
man.
cardboard one, but it's a good idea.
I've seen the cardboard thing at Arrowhead and in Chicago. It's a
We're
it's a
built
real
for
thing.
it. We're built for it.
Yeah.
And then you
were,
insulate.
You were 2 rows from the top. Oh, God.
Yeah,
That's up there, Josh.
That'd be brutal.
Mom wanted to go, so we went.
Wow, Mom wanted to go.
Good for
Yeah.
mom.
That was
She's tough.
All right.
The outcome was, but God, that looks so miserable.
Can you imagine playing in this right now?
Yeah. Speaking of miserable, good luck out there, boys.
Hey, thank you.
Oh, we haven't had a good Nebraska.
Oh, look at that guy. He just
What happened?
He about just flipped all the way around on Dodge Street trying to get
but
out.
he recovered?
Oh, yeah, he
Oh,
recovered.
hell yeah, man. Good recovery.
Oh, that was a good fishtail.
Yeah. It's all about the recovery.
Yeah, so careful getting out of here.
All right. Well, hey,
Have a good
we
weekend,
all
guys.
made it in.
We did.
We'll make it in.
All right. What are the well, we know one will not make it in this afternoon because he'll stay in Lincoln.
Oh,
No,
no.
they're both not coming.
Nick's going to be in this room by himself.
Mhm.
Guaranteed.
That's a
He can
guarantee.
enjoy himself.
Lock that in. He's gonna enjoy
I
it.
live right by Josh, but I'm not coming back in here.
They're not
Let's
even
say-
taking bets on that.
Yeah, no.
Say, Josh, you need a ride, but I don't want to come back.
It's okay.
Wimps.
It's okay.
And
That's
the
the
roads
crowd.
will be cleared by then.
Yeah.
They will be.
Well,
as much as they can be. Well, as much as they can be.
That's Crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. It's Friday. We'll start things off next.
Look at this photograph. That's the Crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Do you think the top part of a mermaid also tastes like fish, or would it actually be red meat?
I think it kind of blends toward the waist, like in the middle you get like a nice cut of both.
Wouldn't the top half of the mermaid be white meat?
No, are people white meat?
No, we're red meat, John.
The breasts! Breasts!
Oh, those.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Winter storm warning continues Friday with snow, wind, and extreme cold. Expect an additional 2 to 4 inches to accumulate through the early afternoon, bringing storm totals in the metro closer to 7 to 10 inches. Northwest winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour will cause near whiteout conditions and blowing snow concerns into the evening. Highs in the single digits with wind chills 10 to 20 below zero. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Put your coffee department in good hands with Host Coffee Service, providing direct delivery and loaned coffee equipment with service programs. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
It's the Connor Happer Show with Connor Happer and Josh Otson. Let's get ready to rumble.
Licensing of the phrase "let's get ready to rumble" just over the last 7+ years internationally is grossed approximately close to $400 million in retail sales.
Really? You guys look like, what do they look like, Jimmy?
Dorks. They look like a couple of dorks.
On 1620, The Zone.
All right, welcome in. Happy Friday. It's the Connor Happer Show. You're on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Hope everybody's safe out there. Oh, look, we got a first plow down the middle of Dodge Street right now. It is one of those snows where they are just moving all of the snow to the middle lane.
It's a center plow snow.
So the middle lane of Dodge Street, as they call the death lane sometimes, will be rendered useless for the next several weeks.
Which really, chaps my hide. I was going to make an illegal left turn on Dodge into
Same-
the NRG parking lot.
Same here,
And I was
Josh.
like, you know,
Because-
there's no one behind me. The side streets are not in condition for me to drive up and down them. I'm just gonna. It's
Totally.
actually safer.
Well, I don't want to encourage this, but you know, when there's very few people out there and you can't really see the lines or anything like that, there's kind of no rules. There's kind of no rules in the road. So yeah, I mean, making a left turn on Dodge, it's not like you're gonna get banged for anything. Nobody's gonna look at you weird. It's just kind of you're trying to get where you're trying to go. So yeah, that's blocked off if you're coming from the west trying to make a turn into the NRG Media parking lot. But we all figured it out, and here we are on a Friday. Hope everybody is safe out there. We did get the weather last night, and I got home okay. In fact, without really snow at all, coming from the farce of a game that happened last night at Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Yeah, did they let you leave at the end of the third quarter, or
no?
Yeah, we're done here.
No, in fact, the fourth quarter was the most grueling of all. Josh, I don't know how many combined field goals for both teams, but it couldn't have been more than 4. It was kind of a mess last night, but Nebraska got the job done on the women's side. Elsewhere, we have plenty to cover on this Friday show. NFL playoffs coming up over the weekend. We remind you once again to get in, last chance to get in on our NFL playoff pick'em on 1620thezone.com. There is a $500 prize at the end of the rainbow. Head over to 1620thezone.com and pick the NFL playoff games. You could also see our picks. So if you like to fade Josh, bad idea given his track record this season.
Yeah.
If you like to tail Josh, that's a good idea. You could look at his picks right there in the front and just go right after him if you'd like to. But the NFL playoffs are a different game. Get in on the action there, 1620thezone.com. We will talk about the aforementioned NFL games from this weekend. There's a couple other things that I'd like to get to as well. Nebraska football picked up another portal man yesterday. I was grinding the tape last night, Josh. I was like, I got to see what this guy's all about. So we'll get to that during the show today. It's a big night in Lincoln. Big wrestling night in Lincoln. Wrestling, the sport, is taking over the city of Lincoln. WWE SmackDown at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Our fine crew over at PBA was turning that thing over all night. They had to have the building in the possession of SmackDown by 4 a.m. this morning.
Wow.
Following a women's basketball game that ended at 9.
Cool.
Last night. And
well, behind the scenes info. I love that.
Yep. So they got that thing turned over. Wonder what the crowd will be like, and wonder what the crowd will be like for Nebraska and Iowa wrestling to see the Nash Hupmaker show. Some feel that Nebraska might actually have a chance to get Iowa.
A couple of top 6 teams cutting it up tonight.
Not bad. It'll be Nebraska-Iowa night on the BTN.
Oh,
with Nebraska and Iowa playing basketball in Iowa City later on this evening. We'll, of course, get into that. We'll keep tabs on what's going on with the Alabama coaching search. They have seemed to have, they've started this trend of everybody's making super cool hype videos for coaches staying at their jobs. Sark is the latest in on the fun this morning. It might just be Kalen DeBoer time for Alabama. If you would have told Kalen DeBoer while he was coaching at University of Sioux Falls 10 years ago that he would be Nick Saban's successor, what do you think he would have said?
You got to cut this guy off. He's had too many.
It might indeed be the case. Casey Thompson, the Casey Thompson Collegiate Tour reaches Oklahoma.
So this guy doesn't care who he hurts. Texas, Nebraska, Oklahoma.
Yeah. We're going to go to make people most uncomfortable. Also, take a look at college basketball from last night and on the weekend. Creighton is home against Rick Pitino and St. John's. And, of course, we'll be talking about weather and things of that nature as well. Our guests on this fine Friday, Bryan Munson coming up here in just a moment. Brian Christopherson, we'll probably focus a little bit more on basketball hoops with BC coming up at 11:30, and Stephen M. Sipple in the noon hour. The lineup is powered by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. We'd love it if you guys got in touch with the show. Give us a call. Send us a text, 402-951-1620 on the 42 Degrees of the Source hotline. Tweet at Happer Show at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor or Josh O at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. We say good morning to our YouTube audience. Same deal still stands, by the way. If you send us a picture of us on your big screen in your living room on this snow day Friday, you will get respect in return. Respect and probably a retweet.
Okay.
I can't guarantee I'll get all of them, but respect and probably a retweet. That is available to all of you guys. Just send us those on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed at Happer Show. We welcome you this morning. You could find our YouTube stream, Twitch stream, 1620thezone.com. Okay, we are off and running on a Friday. A ton to cover and a big weekend in sports. We will chat with Bryan Munson of Husker Online when we return on 1620 The Zone.
Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
At Consumer Cellular, you get the same exact coverage as the largest carriers, but for up to half the cost. Same thing, up to half the cost. Up to half the cost for the same thing. 50% the money for 100% the same thing. I hope I'm making myself clear. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Half the cost savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single-line 5 GB data plan with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single-line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plan offered by T-Mobile and Verizon May 2023.
I'm Rick Betker from Omaha Car Care. We want to thank all our friends and clients who made 2023 a great year. And we hope you can help us spread joy to others. From now through January, we're hosting a boot drive for the kids of the Q school system. At this time of year, they could really use some warm boots. So if you could bring your new or gently used boots to any of our 4 locations, we'll make sure they get to kids in need. Thanks from Omaha Car Care.
Your Omaha Mavericks hockey team is back in action at Baxter Arena as the Mavs take on the top 10 ranked Denver Pioneers Friday and Saturday, January 19th and 20th. Get your tickets for these games and all remaining games as the Mavericks compete for the NCHC Championship. Let's pack the Baxter. Get your tickets now by calling the box office at 402-554-MAVS or by going to omavs.com/tigs.
1620 The Zone will be broadcasting live on Friday, January 26th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska, in support of the Creighton Pinkout game. Stop by and drop off a donation of paper products, gift cards, or cash to support cancer patients staying at the Hope Lodge, a free home away from home for cancer patients and caregivers who must travel to Omaha for their life-saving treatment. Once again, 1620 The Zone live January 26th from the American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska. For more details, listen to 1620 The Zone and visit cancer.org/pinkout.
How much do you worry about your debt?
With over $15,000 I owe, constantly it keeps me awake at night.
Accelerated debt settlement can cut your debt by up to 85% and in as little as 7 to 12 months.
I could be free of debt in no time?
That's right. Other debt settlement companies can take years to negotiate down your debt, but accelerated debt settlement moves fast.
The sooner I don't have to stress about my debt, the better.
Exactly. In just months, Accelerated Debt Settlement's legal team will negotiate your unsecured debt down 60, 80, even 100%. Your debt from credit cards, student loans, timeshares, medical expenses, and more cut down 60, 80, even 100%. And you'll save thousands of dollars in interest payments.
Finally, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
And a good night's sleep.
Now get free of debt in a year or less with Accelerated Debt Settlement. Just call 1-888-508-8051 and we'll get to work for you. That's 1-888-508-8051. 1-888-508-8051.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babel. Babel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks. Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Start learning a new language today. Go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone. Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
Time out!
Bryan Munson.
Hey, long call. Comfy left Zoom Buster. 63 Bang Z Maui. Alert. Paradise Z Burger Y Wrap on one.
Husker Online on the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
All right. We kick off a Friday with our weekly chat with Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com. Munson, hello. Good morning. How are you?
Brother, what is going on up there with the weather? Because it got cold really quick down here, and we're even supposed to get some snow next week.
Okay, what do you mean by cold? What's that mean?
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, full disclosure, it means like it's right above freezing. It's like 34.
Very cold. Very, very cold. I'm looking out our window right now, west on Dodge Street here in Midtown Omaha, and there's blowing and drifting snow everywhere. There's about 1 or 2 cars in the road. We look like we live in a desolate wasteland, and I believe the high tomorrow is -2, so things are good.
Oh, you just took my breath away with that. That's amazing. Wow.
It's not great.
I did not expect that. No.
Yeah. So if you get the remnants and it ends up being 30 degrees there, we apologize.
Well, the leftovers are that next week is supposed to be like high of 15.
Oh.
On a few days, so it's going to dip down there. I'll tell you right now, for all the people, all the listeners up there in your area, when it touches 15 degrees down in Texas, things start going very, very, very wrong very quickly.
I've heard about this.
Yeah, you got enough power for this?
Power, pipes freeze up, and then also when they start to thaw out or they burst, the pressure behind it, you got to go turn the water off. So yeah, things get interesting very, very quickly.
Okay, well, I don't know, our pipes are fine. our pipes are okay here. Hopefully they stay that way. I guess I can't speak for everybody though, Munson.
That's true.
All right. Okay. Let's just do our weekly catch because we've been doing this every week here. Just how you feeling emotionally about your Buffalo Bills going into the weekend?
I tell you what, man. So there's a lot of crow I have to eat. I mean, I think that there was like I don't know what week, Ken Dorsey got fired, but I had taken the towel and just thrown it in. I thought the team was in so much disrepair and so injured with Milano and White being lost for the season. The defensive line was dinged up. And then they kind of got healthy, and then Josh became the old Josh. And I think that there's some other reasons why, they kind of came into their own. Kincaid, Cook, all kind of stepped up. But I'm feeling like I feel way better about things as a number 2.
You should.
I love getting the first 2 games at home. You got to make it through the first one, obviously, against the Steelers. But I think it's way better than having to play the Dolphins for a third time. Get Mostert back probably more than likely, and then Waddle, even though maybe Hill's a little dinged up now. That's a very interesting game with Miami traveling to Kansas City. But I would much more rather host in Orchard Park the first 2 weeks. So yeah. I feel actually like our path is really pretty good, but Baltimore is scary.
I begrudgingly agree with you, Bryan. I wanted to write them off much like you did, but I I feel like they have quite the path. I mean, they're the 2 seed. They have quite the path to the AFC title game, the way it looks to be right now. So that's the expectation now. All of a sudden, things change in a hurry. By the way, Nebraska. We're going to talk about the transfers. We were going to talk about them anyway, but here's a good lead in. They're in the process now of basically publicly announcing their transfers here. So Dante Dowdell they announced officially yesterday. And today, as of about 10 minutes ago, Isaiah Nair has been officially announced. And, and they have more commitments on top of that. And just, I mean, the last month here, as they've been able to sort of put things together and figure out what they need, it's hard to say that they didn't, maybe they didn't check every box. There's maybe one at maybe the quarterback position that you're like, okay, they could have done something there. But I think pretty much everything else got sealed up, it feels like, over the last few weeks.
I totally agree with you. It's like they listen to our show, your show, and listen to us speak on Friday. If Kyle McCord had decided that he wanted to be a Cornhusker, and you added essentially the 4 visitors plus Micah Mazakua that just transferred in from Florida, who had officially visited a year ago, because and I mentioned it this morning in my tunnel talk, things don't sound very positive for Piper coming back to play.
It doesn't.
He's gonna remain probably to be part of a the program in some sort of a role, but it's not going to include him putting the pads on. It sounds like a significant damage, and followed by months and months and months of rehab. And I think that you go out and get Micah, even though you were telling guys like Gibson Pyle and Grant Bricks and Preston Talamua, hey, come in and be ready. Well, they still need to come and be ready, because you're still paper thin, with the lack of depth at interior line. You're talented. You don't have a lot of depth that's proven, and you really would like to start cycling through, I think, those 4 games to see how close or how ready potentially a couple of those guys are. So I think that they're probably all still in line for a red shirt. Micah takes some pressure off of those guys, but I really feel like Coach Rule did a great job. You get your help at running back, even though I still kind of feel like the depth at the running back room is a little light. It's a little thin too,
considering all the injuries.
Yeah, the injuries at the top are just okay, there's some uncertainty there. But then you get your kind of 2 proven guys on the outside at wide receiver. You've really got a good situation, I think, coming back at tight end. And I think that obviously linebacker was a concern too. You lose Reimer, you lose Henrich, and you needed a guy like that. And this is a guy that, Thompson comes right out of Syracuse, where he played for Tony White and started 12 games as a true freshman. So he understands the 3-3-5. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, no, I like that ad. I mean, on top of Banks and like you said, Mazuka, they pretty much, checked the boxes that we felt like they needed to check before they sort of started on this train. All right. I got a couple more things for you. So first of all, I have a general recruiting question here. And it just came across my timeline. So we'll sort of ease into it this way. All these coaches are announcing now that they are not taking the Alabama job. And so Steve Sarkisian this morning, we had Dan Lanning the other day. And now, as of just a moment ago, we have Mike Norvell, who has reaffirmed his commitment to Florida State. It does feel like to me that job is probably pointing toward Kalen DeBoer at this point. I'm not exactly sure which way this is going to go, but it leads us into the Alabama situation in which Colorado's recruiting efforts of Alabama's players that could potentially go into the portal are Shedeur Sanders tweeting out, Alabama players, please, it's time to tap in, he says on Twitter yesterday. I don't think, that's a really, really public, hey, come transfer to Colorado, go into the portal right now. How much movement do you think we'll see on Alabama players leaving? Because I feel like it's a little bit overblown at this point.
I totally agree with you. So, look, ideal circumstances would be that Nick Saban would still be your coach in the fall and the spring, and he's not going to be. But it does take away from it somewhat. But you're still in a very, very, very good place, right? You still play. You're still there at Alabama. You're still in the SEC. You're going to get a hell of a coach here. Just wait it out. You got a week or two. Just wait this thing out. And like you said, is it DeBoer? Do they go take a run at Kiffin? I don't think Kiffin's come out and publicly acknowledged anything yet.
No, he just tweets pictures of where he is.
Mike Norvell, the latest to turn the job down.
Right. Yeah.
Tag me here at this spot.
Yeah.
There's going to be several other names that are going to pop up, and we're all going to look at each other and go, that would be a really nice fit and a really good hire. But I think that there is some reservation of kind of following up a legend like Saban. I think people have seen this happen at other places too, right? Like, falling behind Schembechler, falling behind Osborne. There's some things falling behind Switzer. There's some things that happen here, right? That you just they run a program, and they're so macro, and they have such an amazing staff, and they're all lockstep. They're all aligned. You got to get all that off the ground, and that's tough to do. So it's not portable like what Scott wanted to do from UCF to Nebraska.
Definitely. So now we have this potential thing, which could open up the Washington job on the backside of it, and it's late now. There was always going to be some more movement, but then we have the Harbaugh thing still hanging out there as well with Michigan. And then what would Michigan do on the backside of that, looking for a coach? Like, there is definitely a second wave here in the coaching search, which then in turn, Munson, leads to a second window and a second wave into the transfer portal and recruiting areas and things like that.
It definitely could. I mean, I think that you and I would agree that the numbers for Nebraska don't support Nebraska's, being overly active in the second window.
Yeah, I don't think it's probably for Nebraska, right?
They're gonna be window shopping. I think tons of people are gonna be window shopping, and I think that any smart coach is gonna know how to kind of finesse things a little bit. But I do agree with you. I think that you have a whole nother round here, of 30 days or more, where the dust is going to have to get all kicked back up again based on a couple people kind of moving around or somebody jumping to the pros or whatever else is going to happen. And it's going to be very interesting to kind of sit back and watch, just mainly because Nebraska is not going to be able to participate a whole lot of it.
Yeah, it definitely seems like they'll be they're pretty much done at this point. They'll have some departures, I think, but
I think so too. I mean, I think still that it's been relatively light, and I think that you can count on hearing a handful more here, particularly since reporting. They want guys to report tomorrow. They're going to start kicking off workouts on the 15th. I think a lot of news is going to break around that over the next week and a half or so.
I had a question for you based off of I guess this was last weekend, right? The high school all-star games, which used to be gigantic deals, I feel like, and now for whatever reason it doesn't quite feel that way anymore. I mean, maybe it's guys choosing not to do it or early enrolling or whatever it might be. The talent's still really good. Obviously, Nebraska had a couple guys in the main one, the NBC, Army All-American Bowl. First of all, like, why does this matter less now, or is that just me sort of projecting my feelings on it to everything else?
I think it matters a little less to the fans to show up and watch, because your television coverage and your weekly coverage, particularly like with Under Armour and ESPN, it goes on all week.
Yeah.
You also have sites, all the recruiting sites, including On3, that are doing their daily, almost 2 or 3 times a day kind of coverage of what's going on with the practices and who are the MVPs, and then getting these guys to talk to the team sites like me. It's very over the top. I mean, when I was there, you're talking about 80 some odd players that are on the football field. It wasn't 1-to-1 when it came to players to media, but it was getting close to being in that ratio. There's a lot of people there covering it, and I know that the crowds aren't what they used to be, and you don't have that Army affiliation anymore, the military affiliation anymore with the bowl game in San Antonio. And I think here's another thing too. When Under Armour kicked off, and it hasn't always been there. It's not been as around as long as the one in San Antonio. It's kind of gravitated towards that's maybe a little bit better of a bowl game. That's maybe where they want to go play a little bit more. It's in Florida. It's not south in Texas, San Antonio. It's getting some ice storms here and there. You're not going to find that typically over in Florida. And then the Polynesian Bowl here in a week or so, going to be very interesting. You got Dylan Raiola, Carter Nelson, Preston Talamua. You're going to get your first chance to see Dylan Raiola throw a pass to Carter Nelson.
I am excited.
People aren't giddy about that.
Yeah, no. If you're telling me Dylan Raiola is in the game, I'm like, okay. All of a sudden, I'm super interested in high school all-star games again.
And that hits on a really, really good point that we just kind of mentioned. We didn't really kind of call it out. I did not feel like the West had great quarterbacks. And I felt like, White was really going for Auburn, and Haney's a decent quarterback going to TCU, but you didn't have your Raiola, down there in San Antonio. There wasn't that guy. And that kind of, I think, took away from it even a little bit this year for me. But you had some amazing skill position player, Jeremiah Smith. That guy's like Julio, the next Julio Jones. Like there's some absolute dudes that were out there last weekend.
What was the feeling from the Nebraska guys from that game? You had three of them with Grant Bricks, Gibson Pyle, and Carter Nelson.
I mean, they were all learning. I mean, they were all having a chance to see this amazing competition, more so for like Bricks and Nelson, given where they're from and the levels of competition they played at before. And, Bricks has never had to move laterally. He's always been hat on a hat, dry blocking, never doing anything zone related, never pulling. Carter, they didn't know how to really relate to Carter. I mean, he's a tight end, but he's more of a wide receiver. So he had to learn how to block, and he had a chance to really work on it last week and do it against some of the nation's best defenders. So great opportunity for him to do that. But Gibson Pyle kind of built himself to have this kind of name for himself for being the best puller on the West squad. It's one of those things where, playing in Houston, moving from outside to inside, he's a lot bigger than I gave him credit for. I mean, he's a 6'4", 6'4.5", 285-pound kid. So that's a good sized boy. I mean, I think Nebraska fans should be very, very excited about that trio. I'm very excited about the Polynesian Bowl. And I think Nebraska's got a good group of guys coming into early enroll here this weekend.
Just so people know, when is the Polynesian Bowl again? So, and can people watch that? Is that streamed somewhere?
Yes, it is. It is on. Ooh,
let me look.
I'm trying to remember where that was at because I did that report on where it was going to when it was. I think it's on ESPN. No, it's on the NFL Network. I take that back.
Oh.
And I believe it's not next week. It's the week after.
Okay.
So I need to go back and confer that, but I'll clear that up on Twitter here shortly after we get off the show.
Yeah, because I think there will be an absolute interest in that.
Absolutely.
NFL Network, January 19th. So next Friday, a week from today.
Oh, well, I was off. So then really nice weekend. You get Polynesian Bowl on Friday, and you get Junior Day on the 20th.
4
o'clock.
o'clock.
Good stuff next week.
4 o'clock Hawaiian time, which makes it what, like 9 o'clock here or 10 o'clock?
9 Eastern, 8 Central.
9. Yes, 8 o'clock Central.
Nice. That'll be a good little Friday night.
So you got a nice busy Friday night, and then we'll give you your Saturday night stuff with all the Junior Day updates next week.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a busy time as everybody starts to sort of turn their attention over to 2025, and then of course the 2024 season. All right, Munson, enjoy the weekend. Good luck to your Bills, and stay warm down there.
Appreciate that. You guys do the same. Talk to you next week.
Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com. We don't need any grids exploding anymore in Texas.
No,
we don't need any of that. But we do need pictures of you guys watching us on your big screens at home. Keep sending those our way at Happer Show.
Yeah, those look great.
Well, I remember I used to be so excited for the high school all-star games. I would sit down and I would watch the Army All-American Bowl. And I guess I don't know if they do this anymore because I didn't watch it this year. But so I saw the highlights. I saw Carter Nelson's catch. and I didn't really notice offensive line play, but that's pretty normal for me, I guess.
Wow.
Sorry, I apologize to all the offensive linemen listening out there. But I used to be kind of excited about it, but I don't know if they do the part anymore where like signing day is kind of already passed. But the cool part about it was you would have guys who go into the game and they're going to announce their commitments at the game on television. And you just had to find out with the rest of the world right there. I always thought, that was always the draw. And that's not really happening.
Yeah,
Nobody plays in
it.
the game who's undecided.
Mm-hmm.
You know? That's maybe I don't know, maybe you consider moving that game up before signing period. I'm not sure what to do with it, but it's definitely lost some juice, that's for sure. The Polynesian Bowl, full of juice. Next Friday, Dylan Raiola's playing.
All the juice.
Dylan Raiola is playing football next Friday. He will amazingly not be in Lincoln recruiting. He'll be in Hawaii throwing footballs to Carter Nelson.
And recruiting.
And probably recruiting on television. ABC, Josh. Always be Cruton.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Always be Cruton. You mentioned it. Mike Norvell, the latest to reaffirm his commitment to his current job. He remains at Florida State. Like I said, we are heading down DeBoer Lane.
Sure seems that way. Also, Albert Breer had the line. I'm just going to straight up steal it from him. The Bank of Alabama is open for business. Mike Norvell, 8 years, $10 million a year, according to Yahoo Sports.
Sark. Yeah, I haven't got I don't got the details yet, but he's loaded up.
A lot of people using this to better their own situations.
I think we're headed toward Kalen DeBoer, the head coach at Alabama.
If he says no, this gets interesting.
I agree. But I don't think he'll say no.
I don't think so.
Kalen DeBoer was in his third year at the University of Sioux Falls when Nick Saban took over at Alabama. It's pretty good, isn't it?
I'm going back to what we talked about, where if you walk up to him and say, "You are Nick Saban's successor."
Yeah. Let's go back to 2007. You are Nick Saban's successor. How does that sound? Well, I guess
it sounds great. I'll be honest.
They had just won an NAIA national championship. To be fair, it's a powerhouse up there in Sioux Falls. He went 67-3. Things have changed since then.
Also, I wish I could credit who said this, but I forget who. Washington all of a sudden feels a lot like TCU last year.
Yeah. No more Rome Odunze, no more Penix, maybe no more DeBoer. Yeah. A little bit of a shooting star this year.
Yeah, just sort of a shell of themselves.
Good program, kind of a shooting star to get to the national championship game. All right, we'll come back. Bryan Christopherson joins next. We will touch on some football items with him, transfers, things of that nature, but also Husker hoops. Can they check the one box, Josh, that my biggest complaint is about them, that they haven't been able to check? How does Nebraska basketball handle success, prosperity? How do they handle it tonight? 4.5-point dogs in Iowa City. Can they have 2 games in a row where they do something unexpected? They win tonight, you're starting to believe. Even Josh Odson, the firmest of disbelievers, starts to believe tonight if Nebraska wins in Iowa City. He's shaking his head. He agrees.
I think you are correct, yes.
Bryan Christopherson joins next on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Roofing, siding, and gutters. Make the right call with the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, We take banking personally. Member FDIC.
The world's on fire. Attacks in the Middle East, Ukraine and Russia at war. And right here, Joe Biden has created a dangerous threat to every American. Biden's open border policies have opened the floodgates to a record number streaming in, 12,000 in one day alone. This means increased terrorist threats and even more deadly fentanyl being delivered to our neighborhoods. President Trump will change that. He'll secure our borders by building even more wall. He'll end visitors from terrorist countries being allowed to enter. And Trump will treat the drug cartels the same as he treated terrorists who kill Americans. President Trump, the strength to protect our borders and our families.
I'm Donald Trump, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Donald J. Trump for President 2024, Inc.
Our free 2024 Gold Investment Guide isn't just a collection of tips. It's a treasure map to possible wealth in a shifting economy. We've distilled expertise and insights into this comprehensive guide, tailored for both newcomers and veteran investors. Ride the wave of gold to unprecedented heights. Call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000 for your free guide. Call 800-900-8000 now.
How much do you worry about your debt?
With over 15,000 I owe, constantly it keeps me awake at night.
Accelerated debt settlement can cut your debt by up to 85% and in as little as 7 to 12 months.
I could be free of debt in no time?
That's right. Other debt settlement companies can take years to negotiate down your debt, but accelerated debt settlement moves fast.
The sooner I don't have to stress about my debt, the better.
Exactly. In just months, Accelerated Debt Settlement's legal team will negotiate your unsecured debt down 60, 80, even 100%. Your debt from credit cards, student loans, timeshares, medical expenses, and more cut down 60, 80, even 100%. And you'll save thousands of dollars in interest payments.
Finally, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
And a good night's sleep.
Now get free of debt in a year or less with Accelerated Debt Settlement. Just call 1-888-508-8051 and we'll get to work for you. That's 1-888-508-8051. 1-888-508-8051.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babel. Babel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks. Even better.
Since Babel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babel doesn't take long.
And with Babel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Start learning a new language today. Go to Babel.com. That's Babel.com. Babel.com.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Sharp, voice of Omaha men's basketball. The takeover of the Dakotas continues on Saturday night at Baxter Arena when the Omaha men's basketball team takes on the Bison of North Dakota State in a big Summit League showdown. 6:30 airtime on 1180 The Zone. Tip-off 7 o'clock.
All right, we'll see if we can get a hold of one Bryan Christopherson, Husker 24/7 here in a second. Just thinking, man, I'm watching all the snowplows out there doing the Lord's work on our parking lots and our streets. Great job.
You.
Great job. We thank the city of Omaha and we thank all the independent plowers out there. That'd be a good
Independent Plowers.
Yeah.
Good fantasy football team name.
the independent plowers. Fantasy football team or something else. Yeah, I plow independently. BC says he's ready if you call back.
Oh, okay.
Call him back, Josh. The man wants to be called. Call him back.
Diva behavior.
BC will join us here in just a second. I do want to ask him about about the Alabama job a little bit as well. We'll talk about Nebraska basketball tonight. Like I was saying before the break, this could, I heard Gary talk about this morning, and I completely agree with him. Like, if this is kind of the game where if you're like, hey, to be the number one team in the country, okay, that was great on your home court. Let's see what happens after that. By the way, Nebraska is up to 39 on my little KenPom. Josh?
Oh, your little KenPom thingy?
29 adjusted efficiency offense for Nebraska basketball.
That was good.
So much for building it on defense. There might be some points tonight in Iowa City. Bryan Christopherson of Husker 24/7 joins us now on the 42 Degrees Source Hotline. BC, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Did you get a shovel in, a scoop in, snow blow? What do we got working over there?
No scoop or snow blows yet. I'm gonna write another story or two and then get out there and do my like your halftime shovel, and then you do one later tonight. I was gonna go to Iowa City, had my credential and all that, but that seems like a bad idea today.
It definitely seems like a bad idea.
Yeah. So I'll watch on TV.
It'll be a fun game tonight. I was just sort of saying, like, so you come off the win against Purdue, the number one team in the country. People are starting to, dive back in. And I'm talking about, like, emotionally for fans who have been scarred by Nebraska basketball and what they do for years now. And I think there's always this hesitancy. But all right, we're interested. Number one team in the country. Losing tonight at Iowa would kind of, I don't know if it would erase some of the good, all of the good things that you created for yourself on Tuesday night, but maybe some of it. Like, where do you, even though they're underdogs, how do you feel like tonight's game stands just for the psyche of people around here?
I'm sure there'll be some of that if they lose immediately, like, oh yeah, they can't have nice things, sort of cliche stuff. I would tell people to be hesitant to go that way. It's hard to win on the road in this league. I'm not saying Nebraska's not going to get it done tonight. They're a 4.5 point underdog because it is hard to win on the road, and Iowa has struggled at times this year, but they've won 4 of their last 5 and they're averaging 86.5 points per game. So that if they get going, on the offensive end, they can be a tough team to deal with. Their only loss in their last 5 games is to Wisconsin, who is suddenly looking like, maybe the best team in the Big Ten, arguably. So I think it is going to be a tough game. I would have thought that anyway, but then you add in the layer of coming off an emotional win. And Wednesday, everybody's kind of patting you on the back, and you wonder how much you get done that day. So hopefully they play well and keep it going on offense. I mean, they've got a lot of movement and just pieces that are working on that side of the floor. And the K-State heat wave is coming. Tominaga Mania t-shirts are out. Rink is just such a solid player. The matchup that's going to be fun tonight is Mast against Ben Krikke from Iowa, who's sort of the 6'9" version of him for the Hawkeyes.
Who loves 2-point jump shots at the free throw line?
Yes, and he's averaging like 16.5 a game. So they've played each other in the Valley, Mass being from Bradley and Krikke from Valpo. So that's probably the game within the game to watch tonight.
One thing Nebraska has going for them tonight, I'll say this, is Fred Hoiberg has done nothing in his life but terrorize the University of Iowa. So I do think they'll always be prepared to play Iowa if you were worried about some sort of a letdown tonight.
Yeah, and I think he's done a good job setting the tone even in the post-game room Tuesday night. He's like, well, it's nice to win. You got to enjoy tonight, but I'll be thinking about Iowa when I get home. Hopefully he was enjoying a nice nightcap as he did that. I'm sure he was after that win. But, that's the way it is with college basketball. You really can't rest on your laurels for more than the evening that you won that game, because there's probably another one 3 or 4 days after that. Nebraska's had a very difficult stretch of scheduling here where it's games, 3 days after one another. That finally changes a little bit, but then they go to Rutgers middle of next week. And I guess the way I'd put it, Connor, is I think if Nebraska I'm not saying this in a defeatist way. I just like if they split the next two on the road, coming home to Northwestern, I'd take that right now, and I'd feel pretty good about it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd like to see them at least get done over the next two road games.
If I asked you to pick, and let's switch over to football a little bit. Bryan Christopherson of Husker 24/7 is with us. If I asked you to pick like one of the transfers that you would sort of spotlight and say, I don't know. I don't like asking the question like who's the most important, because I think they all fill needs for Nebraska. But you're like, I am really interested to see what that picture looks like. Which one is it?
I've kind of been on the running back train all along, so I guess I'll stick with it. With Dowdell, I just am really fascinated to see, like, how he fits into that picture with us not knowing exactly what Gabe and Ramir's health situation will be. It sounds like they were tracking right in their recoveries, but both had very tough injuries. And, the thing I like about Dante Dowdell is when he was in high school, he's a top, 200 player by 24/7 Sports. And he's a guy who's running for like 2,500 yards a year down in Mississippi. And I just love the fact that he was just such a beast at that level. And sometimes I'll see a running back recruit who commits somewhere and he has like 850 yards his senior year or something. And maybe there was an injury or there was some situation that caused that. But I'm always thinking like, why didn't you tear it up a little bit more at that level? Like,
yeah.
I'd like to see those numbers a little elevated if you're going to be dominant here. So the fact that he at least did that down in Mississippi and showed that he could just at that level be that dominant intrigues me. I think their running back room at Oregon was pretty loaded, and so I understand what the situation was there. So I think there's potentially the best of both worlds there. I think you got a guy who's very talented, who's basically kind of a new recruit, but yet he's had 1 year of college ball where he's kind of seen it up close in a big program and what it sort of takes to compete at this level. And I think that could be useful. My second answer, though, quickly would be Banks, because
I was just going to ask you about him. So go ahead.
Yeah. Well, but I'll be quick. I mean, Banks, just his size and the fact that he's had 650-yard seasons the last two seasons at Wake. So he's got good production value. I think he can be good in the red zone. And just look at who wanted him. I mean, Notre Dame got him in on a visit. Michigan was kicking the tires on him. I know that. So Nebraska won a good skirmish there for a player in the portal that some really high-level programs are after.
Nebraska football threw for 9 touchdowns last year. So, and you look at their receiving core. Obviously, they had problems at quarterback, and that's a part of it. And maybe some of that gets fixed with young Dylon. But you also have supplemented the wide receiver room with some different bodies now as well. You feel like maybe they won't have to score all their passing touchdowns on 50-plus yard plays next year. That's a huge plus.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? I like also, Nayer's a big body who did it at Wyoming before the injury at Texas. And they were around Lincoln at the same time on their visits. And I talked to Banks yesterday. And it sounds like he hit it off with Isaiah Nayer. And I think that's a nice little bonus. You got the two guys coming in and, they're veterans and maybe they can enjoy each other's company, but also be good peer leaders. And I just sort of like Banks's makeup though. He's a guy who's been around the block playing this game, but yet also said, I can learn from young guys too, just like they can learn from me. You got to have humility about it. He has a really good head on his shoulders, I think. And he this was in multiple interviews. He told me this, and I know he told other reporters this. He got to throw with Dylan.
Yep.
And, this is a receiver who's been in college football for 4 years or so and has seen, 21-year-old guys wing it. And it seemed like from his comments that Dylan didn't take a back seat and like just how he can get the ball out, and really impressed him. So I know he came to Lincoln kind of wanting to see a little bit about what Dylan Raiola was about, and he got to see up close and he liked it. And so that was another little thing that I think got the people pouring a little more Kool-Aid into their glass yesterday.
BC, you're a football junkie, football sicko, whatever you want to call it. What is your excitement level to watch as the weather sweeps over the country this weekend? Some of our disgusting weather NFL playoff games.
I love that stuff. Yeah, it looks like I don't even know how the guys are going to get in there for Buffalo, Pittsburgh. It looks like there's going to be like a foot and a half of snow or something. Or that'll be nice. Also, it'll be nice for Nebraska because let's face it, this isn't the greatest weekend to have like 5 dudes or 4 dudes from Miami or whatever it is moving in.
Yeah.
Some of these guys coming into Nebraska, well, there's like a polar vortex or whatever we're calling it. But you can at least, when you get them in the door and get them next to a heater, you can turn on the TVs and say, look, there's Pittsburgh, Buffalo. This is what you're going to have to deal with. It's a good thing you're here.
I love that. Wasn't it? What was it? Willis McGahee who said something like that? The incoming recruit in the class who was like, you tweeted it out. I think it was him. He was like, yeah, I mean, you're going to have to play like this in the NFL. I'm pretty sure Matt Rule has said that verbatim before. So that is resonating, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's a smart recruiting technique. You got to use what your situation is to your advantage and not see it as a detriment. And that's what they do. And it's true. I mean, there's a variety of teams. Whether you would go to that team or not in the NFL, if you made it, you're going to have to play games against those type of teams in weather like this. So it makes sense to sell that. And of course, young Willis, his dad, as people would point out, played at Buffalo. So he probably has some background on that and understands it well. But yeah, that's a good way to look at it. And I would definitely, if I were a Husker coach or whatever, look at that. That's a snowstorm, something, huh? That's what you're going to have to do. So use it to work for you.
Looks just like it does on TV, doesn't it? That's where you're going to be in a couple of years. Yep, I like it. Bryan, enjoy your weekend, my friend. Enjoy the house and watching Nebraska basketball and whatever else. Oh, probably tune into some Nebraska-Iowa wrestling this evening, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Watch some Nash.
See if Nash gets out there, and that'll be a real test for him. But I never bet against Nash.
Well, why would you? He's never lost.
Yeah, it'd be tough if he has to take an L and how he deals with that. But yeah, that'll be fun to watch. So it's a pretty good sports night to be kind of tucked in and just to have the fireplace on and watch it from home and see how things transpire.
Not bad at all. Talk to you later, BC. Thanks.
Yep, thanks a lot.
Bryan Christopherson of Husker 24/7. I love that. We didn't talk about that when BC published that quote a couple weeks ago with Willis McGahee, and he said that, and he tweeted it, and I thought Matt Rule has said exactly this before. Look, man, if you want to go to the NFL, this is the deal. Where what has the constant narrative been around here, Josh? Oh man, you got to keep them inside. I've heard recruiting stories about how they would literally they would land the plane in the hangar, get the truck and into the hangar, and then never have them walk a step outside, the recruits, on their way into the football facility, just so they didn't ask questions. You sell what you have. Nebraska has this; they got to make the best of it. What a lovely day to move 4 high school football players from Miami in this weekend. Fantastic.
Now, I've quickly scanned the Flow Sports preview for the wrestling meet tonight.
Okay. Flow Wrestling?
Yes. At 285.
The Flow Boys.
Now, this was posted 45 minutes ago. I'm sorry if the info isn't right or if I sound like an idiot when
We need an expert.
Joe? The matchup at 285, they have a prediction that Nash will lose. To a person that they don't even know, like it's TBD.
Well, yeah, it's one guy or the other.
Yeah.
It's one guy, and they don't have to pick until you go.
They say it'll be a very close meet. There will be the matches at 174 and Nash's match at 285 could be the difference in the entire meet. They predict Iowa to win a close meet.
People are saying Nebraska's got a chance to get Iowa tonight.
Got a shot.
Nebraska's going to wrestle. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 top 11 guys in the country. Iowa's gonna do the same.
Let's go.
Points are gonna be hard to come by.
Oh, this has different rankings.
I love wrestling.
Number 2, Iowa versus number 3, Nebraska. That's better than the rankings I looked up earlier.
I'm looking at 4 versus 2.
NCAA had 6 versus 3.
Who's making these?
These polls.
Is there a coach's poll? What's going on?
I believe I was looking at the coaches poll at ncaa.com.
I'm looking at whatever Nebraska gave us from the release they put out.
That's probably best.
I don't know what poll it is, but whatever. Maybe it's Flow Sports, Flow Wrestling. Anyway, thanks to BC for joining. We will come back. Josh has the odd news on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Will this be a tainted championship? In my opinion, it will be, yes. The fact that you had a coach literally sit out 6 games this year. This type of a scandal actually affected the play on the field to some degree. To what degree, we don't know. This scandal has to do with affecting the outcome on the field.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Winter storm warning continues Friday with snow, wind, and extreme cold. Expect an additional 2 to 4 inches to accumulate through the early afternoon, bringing storm totals in the metro closer to 7 to 10 inches. Northwest winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour will cause near whiteout conditions and blowing snow concerns into the evening. Highs in the single digits with wind chills 10 to 20 below zero. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
More with Connor and Josh after this.
We're going to have an extensive professional relationship, my man.
On 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone is on location Friday, January 26th at American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska, in support of the Creighton Pinkout Game, a free home away from home for cancer patients and caregivers. You can find details on 1620thezone.com and at cancer.org/pinkout.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy.
Creighton Sports Update. Creighton men's basketball returns home to the CHI Health Center Omaha tomorrow at noon to take on St. John's. The Big East Road Trip Fan Festival kicks off at 9:30 a.m. in the Convention Center. Women's basketball returns to DJ Sokol Arena Sunday at 1 p.m. for a contest with Providence. A limited number of donuts will be available for fans Sunday as we celebrate Donut Day. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
How much do you worry about your debt?
With over 15,000 I owe, constantly it keeps me awake at night.
Accelerated debt settlement can cut your debt by up to 85% and in as little as 7 to 12 months.
I could be free of debt in no time?
That's right. Other debt settlement companies can take years to negotiate down your debt, but accelerated debt settlement moves fast.
The sooner I don't have to stress about my debt, the better.
Exactly. In just months, Accelerated Debt Settlement's legal team will negotiate your unsecured debt down 60, 80, even 100%. Your debt from credit cards, student loans, timeshares, medical expenses, and more cut down 60, 80, even 100%. And you'll save thousands of dollars in interest payments.
Finally, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
And a good night's sleep.
Now get free of debt in a year or less with Accelerated Debt Settlement. Just call 1-888-508-8051 and we'll get to work for you. That's 1-888-508-8051. 1-888-508-8051.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Listen to the Woodhouse Auto Family Blue Jays shoot around and overtime shows, the Creighton men's basketball pregame and postgame shows on 1620 The Zone. The Woodhouse Auto Family Blue Jays shoot around and overtime shows are also presented by Union Bank and Trust. Hear the breakdown and coverage about your top-ranked Creighton men's basketball team before and after each game, exclusively on your home for the Creighton Blue Jays. 1620 The Zone, the 1620 The Zone mobile app, and 1620thezone.com.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
All right, our wrestling people have helped us out a little bit here.
And we appreciate that. I appreciate that they weren't rude about it either.
Thank you.
It was genuinely helpful.
That's the perspective we've taken. That's the disposition we've taken, Josh. Please help us.
Please. I want to learn.
Iowa JD writes in.
Hi, Iowa.
Iowa has 3 All-Americans. They can't wrestle this year. So if Nebraska can't win against this Iowa team, it will never happen. Also, Iowa may bring out Ben Kruder at 285. He was also undefeated, but he's also the reigning U20 world champion. Matt says,
hi, Matt.
Hutmaker and Kruder. Both are football players for Nebraska and Iowa, and neither have lost in the past 5 years. Both won 4 state championships.
That sounds so much fun. Like, not even like the nervous tension of a Nebraska-Iowa game. That just sounds so fun.
It could also come down to that. Yeah. It's the last one. Yeah. Let's go, Nash.
BTN's going to be popping.
Hey, you got the whole state on your shoulders. Oh. Come on.
Raucous environment.
Wonder if Dana Holgerson will be there again.
His face will be blurred.
He's still here. What? Go home, Dana.
What are we doing? Well, now he's snowed in.
Yeah, he can't leave now. He got to sign that contract. All right, Josh. What do we have today?
I am petitioning the committee for a 4th story in the odd news today. It is very quick. It is very local.
Declined. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Bellevue police reminding residents about proper snow removal.
Okay.
Someone in Bellevue last night was apparently pouring gasoline on the snow in their driveway.
Oh, yeah.
And lighting it on fire.
Yeah.
A Bellevue police officer posted the story on social media saying they were on their way to Old Town Bellevue to talk to this person.
I'm gonna take my horse to the Old Town Bellevue. I'm gonna burn my driveway till I can't no more.
I mean, come on. What do we do?
Let's not do that. It sounds easy. It theoretically could work. It is also very dangerous.
Very dangerous. Also sounds expensive.
And expensive, yes. That's the other thing. So, yep, don't do that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. We move on to the main odd news stories, the 3 that I pulled for today. Taylor Swift's cat is in the news today. That's right. Olivia Benson making headlines as the cat has a higher net worth than Travis Kelce.
Taylor Swift's cat does?
Yes.
What is the name, the other name that you mentioned there?
Olivia Benson. That is Taylor Swift's cat's name.
Olivia Benson? Like, that's a full name.
That is a full name for her
cat. The cat has a last name?
It is named after Mariska Hargitay's Law & Order SVU character.
She's just so fun and cute, isn't she?
The cat has a net worth of $97 million, according to the website allaboutcats.com.
God.
They might be a little biased, if we're being honest. The website says that Olivia has earned her net worth by starring with Taylor Swift in a music video. Olivia also, quote, crafted her own merchandise line and has made cameos in many big budget ads, including Diet Coke.
This is the worst thing you've ever said. This is the worst thing you've ever said on this on this segment.
Wow.
This is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard.
Travis Kelce, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs, has a net worth of $40 million. So the cat is worth not just more than Travis Kelce, but over twice as much.
Josh, there's just so many levels. There's just so many angles that I could take here that I feel like it would probably just be best for us to move on.
Don't anger the Swifties. Don't anger the animal lovers, Connor.
I could go either way.
Mm-hmm. More animal news and story number 2.
Thank you for moving on.
Yeah.
It was very hard for me to bite my tongue just then.
I could sense that you were not joking, actually.
No,
It's Friday, which means we can recap inside the NBA from last night.
Oh, good.
Yesterday was also National Milk Day.
Jeff says, by the way, on the text line, thank you, Hap. That was awful. Josh is canceled.
Hey, I'm just reading the honest news stories I can find.
You said it.
So on National Milk Day on Inside the NBA, what else are you going to do? But
Drink
have
milk.
Charles Barkley milk a cow, of course.
Oh, that's worse than I thought.
He told Ernie Johnson, quote, I know how to milk a damn cow, Ernie. You pull that little thing. His little Ken Pom thing?
That is right. You do pull that little thing.
Presumably, Barkley was referring to the cow's udder. Despite his insistence that he was already prepared, the show had a professional cow handler on set.
Probably good.
To explain the intricacies involved in milking a cow. Then it was Barkley's turn. Barkley told the cow, hey, calm down, Betsy. But the cow's name was actually Rosie. While Kenny Smith passed on the opportunity to take a turn, quote, I'm from New York City. I'm from the concrete jungle, he reminded his co-hosts.
They could do anything on this show.
Good.
They could do anything that they wanted to do. And it would be funny every single time because they have Charles Barkley. Now, Chuck's from the country, right?
Yes.
So
Bama.
He
went to Auburn.
I think I believe him when he says, I know how to milk a damn cow.
I believe he's probably done it before.
He's probably done it before.
And you saw what they did last night. Teams did not play competitive basketball last night. So I guess you were working. You might not have seen this.
Yeah, I did hear about the 60-point game.
Well, most every game in the NBA was a blowout last night. So they had Celtics Bucks on, and it was the 5th game in 7 days for the Celtics, second night of a back-to-back. And there's rules against resting players in that situation. So it was a huge blowout. They left that game and went to the Knicks game. And then the Knicks game became a blowout. So they said, well, we're just going to send you back to Milwaukee.
Did they really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then the Blazers lost to the Thunder by 67 points or something like that.
No shame in losing to the Thunder.
Yeah.
Thunder are great. Honk, honk.
Honk, honk. Finally. Skip Bayless is in the news.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Is he going to throw away his jersey again?
Well, maybe not this weekend, but he's prepped that video already, I'm sure. Hole-in-one's also in the news after that guy from Barstool or something had to hit a golf simulator until he made a hole-in-one or something.
Jerry.
Yeah. So Skip Bayless hit a hole-in-one at the Brentwood Country Club this week. After struggling with the par 4 6th hole, which is uphill and often in the wind, Bayless settled in at number 7. This is again Brentwood Country Club, where OJ has prowled for years.
Many times.
Feeling good and fluid in his swing, Bayless followed through with a little more confidence on the 7th hole. And then magic happened, the undisputed host said. This tee shot I hit on Tuesday was very different. I could feel it. This one I hit so purely that the only way I can describe it to you is that feeling for me was better than any sex I've ever had.
Okay.
And I love sex, but as you can see, I really love golf.
Wow.
Dead straight rocket of a 7-iron. Did it for Bayless more than any partner has ever done.
I don't want to sit here, obviously Skip has a track record of just being completely full of bleep. But I don't want to start the precedent of just anytime anybody claims they hit a hole in one, just to tell them that they're liars, because I don't think that's right. Anybody, you could theoretically hit a hole in one, but the timing seems interesting here.
It really does.
So I don't know. And I'd like a little bit more detail. Usually if you hit your hole in one, you know all the detail, right? How far it was, obviously what club you're using, which you mentioned was a 7-iron. But like, did it trickle in? Did you dunk it? Did you spin it back? I feel like a truth teller would have given me that information. But I once again don't want to start the precedent.
I have a video clip.
There's a video of it.
Well, yes, he talked about it on his podcast, the Skip Bayless Show.
Oh, if there's a video of it, then okay.
I don't have video of the golf shot.
Oh, okay.
I have him discussing it.
Oh, so you just have the video of him saying it. That way we could tell if he's lying or not.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how much detail he goes into on the Skip Bayless Show.
I don't want to hear Skip Bayless on this show.
Okay.
Turn him down.
That was kind of my thought as well.
Nope.
But I did have it just in case.
Covered a lot there, Josh.
We really did.
Cows.
Cats.
And Skip Bayless.
And somewhere in between.
Hitting a hole in one, but probably not.
Poll question. Do you believe Skip Bayless hit a hole in one?
Yeah. Yep. That's good. Put that one out there. At Happer Show. It's up. Coming up on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed. That is the odd news. We'll return in the noon hour. Steve Sipple will join at the bottom of the hour. Still plenty to come on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
I'm a fabulous driver.
The Connor Happer Show.
I'm one of the best friends you could ever have in your life.
On 1620 The Zone.
I hate you.
The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
The world's on fire. Attacks in the Middle East. Ukraine and Russia at war. And right here, Joe Biden has created a dangerous threat to every American. Biden's open border policies have opened the floodgates to a record number streaming in, 12,000 in one day alone. This means increased terrorist threats and even more deadly fentanyl being delivered to our neighborhoods. President Trump will change that. He'll secure our borders by building even more wall. He'll end visitors from terrorist countries being allowed to enter. And Trump will treat the drug cartels the same as he treated terrorists who kill Americans. President Trump, the strength to protect our borders and our families.
I'm Donald Trump, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Donald J. Trump for President 2024, Inc.
Planning something fun for your office, family, or friends? Joe's Karting is for you. Take a break. Come to Joe's to race, relax, and recharge. Great for team building. Ditch the speaker and burn some rubber. Trust us, Joe says you'll leave motivated. Joe's Karting race packages range from providing simple stress relief races to the real deal race experience. Check us out at joeskarting.com. Remember, go to Joe's, your place to race.
Like eating out? Like saving money? Then get to Cops at 180th and Center, Shadow Lake Town Center, or 72nd and Jones for their daily specials. Tuesday is $3 off all burgers and sandwiches. Wednesday, buy any specialty pizza and get a one-topping 50% off. Then Thursday, all wings are $1 each when you order 10. And this just in, Cops in Shadow Lake now offers delivery. Click copspizza.com to see the menu. Cops, pizza, and so much more.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone. Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
A reminder that even if you text us a picture of you watching us on your living room television, it's still a tweet.
Whoa.
Just like it's still AM radio from KJ on the text line.
Hi, KJ.
KJ sends us a picture of him watching on his TV that is nestled above the fireplace.
Oh.
In his living room.
Sounds cozy.
Thank you, KJ. We appreciate that. Josh doesn't know how to spell Skip Bayless.
Apparently not.
Sadly.
I had no idea.
Sadly.
This is a real Barbara Streisand situation.
And Jacob Padilla is impressed by me name dropping Jared Bayless. Whoa, I've never heard this part of the song before.
Really gets going here at this part. Oh, and then it just dies?
No, I shut it off.
Oh, okay.
I don't need to hear it anymore.
Sad. Normally fake.
It's really snowing outside, guys.
Is that new snow or is that existing snow blowing?
It is both.
Okay.
Yep. Our world is just full of snow at the moment. Don't know how it looks where you're at. 50th Dodge. We are in a bit of a snow globe right now.
Winter hellscape. Looks like The Thing out there.
So stay safe out there, my friends. A couple minutes here on Casey Thompson. You know, Casey Thompson.
I do know.
He is going to continue his football playing career at Oklahoma. So once again, Texas, Nebraska, Florida Atlantic, Oklahoma for Casey Thompson's 7 years of playing college football. He will back up Jackson Arnold next year. At least that's the plan as of right now. And I think, I guess I wasn't, if there was any discourse on this, I missed it yesterday because I was just draining jumpers inside Pinnacle Bank Arena last night.
The team wasn't, but you were.
I got so hot pregame yesterday. I was like, I am feeling it. I can't explain. You just get in that zone. I can't even explain it to you, Josh. It's just getting real hot.
How was Australia night? Was Australia night deemed offensive?
No, not offensive.
Jazz was pro this celebration.
Yeah. It's different than Australia Day in Australia, but it is
okay.
Yeah, they held the flag. We sang the national anthem. They sang the national anthem.
Great.
And they had a couple video features in there, which was good. And I used my accent once.
Okay.
Our song of the game was predictably
Men at Work.
Men at Work. And so when I announced that Men at Work was coming on, I said Down Under.
Oh, perfect. Okay, that's a good.
I just thought that was it.
Good spot.
Let me just, Anyway, Casey Thompson. And so you looked at that yesterday, and I don't know what the discourse was, like I said, but I imagine people saw that and they were like, "Oh, he's going to go be the backup at Oklahoma. Why can't he come be the backup here?" And I'll try to answer that. I just don't think this is something Nebraska wanted for a variety of different reasons. I think the optics would have been weird, right? And that was something that you maybe wanted to avoid. He was the starting quarterback in 2022. He was well liked by people here. He was well liked by the fans in a horrible season. I guess that's how it ended, right? He was well liked in a season where everything sort of collapsed around him. You had Casey Thompson and you had Trey Palmer in 2022. And then he left and he went to FAU, and things were horrible at quarterback last year. And Casey's playing pretty well in his first couple games before he gets hurt. And people were wondering, okay, man, if you would have just hung on to Casey Thompson this year, why did they tell Casey Thompson to leave, or whatever narrative you wanted to throw out there about why Casey Thompson left in the first place?
Matt Rule pushed him out of a moving vehicle.
yeah, he literally, he was like, get out! And, so you had that happen last year, and it ended up being a situation where Casey Thompson became this like mythical like savior. It's like, well, if we just had Casey Thompson, how many games would we have won this year? So you have that, and if you're asking him to come back and he's the backup to Dylan Raiola this year, I don't think anybody, would be like, hey, well, let's have Casey Thompson start in front of Dylan Raiola. But you do have the situation where if anything goes wrong with Dylan Raiola throws one incomplete pass. It's like, who's this guy? He stinks. We have Casey Thompson on the bench. He's experienced. He's been around for 7 years. So the optics are kind of just odd. That's not why you don't do it. I think there's other reasons that went into this. I think there's, I guess I don't know how to put this. I think there's other stuff that comes with Casey Thompson that Nebraska just probably didn't want to deal with. And probably none of it, no fault of his own. And I just think there's other stuff that comes with it. So it's clean break, and he's off to Oklahoma, and he's going to be the backup quarterback. And I know that doesn't exactly bring clarity to the situation. And Nebraska, frankly, it would be advantageous for them to go get another quarterback in the room. I don't need them to, but if you're talking about ideal worlds, and hey, we're shooting for the moon here, Josh.
Sure.
We've got everything we've wanted this offseason. So if you're shooting for the moon, yeah, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to bring an experienced quarterback who's willing to sit behind and sort of mentor Dylon. That's a good thing for Nebraska.
Dylon.
But that's in an ideal world. I'm not expecting that to happen at this point. I would expect Nebraska to pursue it if they find a window of opportunity to have it. But I think they're going into the spring with young
Dylon,
and who,
because I spit hot fire,
spits hot fire, and Daniel Kalen and Heinrich Harburg. That's your story at the moment. Would Casey Thompson have been nice to have? Yes. I think they just decided it probably wasn't worth it. As weird as that sounds. That's my read on the situation anyway. Just my read. But I know people will be clamoring for it all the time. Or maybe, just maybe, Dylan Raiola will be good and he won't have to.
Let's do that.
He won't have, several injuries during a season because he won't be running the ball 17 times a game.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll just play the whole year and we won't have to think about who the backup quarterback is. But once again, ideal world.
That would be great.
It would be great.
But I think it shows that the fan base still likes Casey Thompson if they were sort of pipe dreaming having him return.
His career or his season here aged better than I ever expected it to.
Yeah.
Mostly because of how things sort of unfolded last year. But I remember
a lot of people rooting for him.
I remember the narrative of him at first. It was like, what's going on? Sort of from a leadership perspective here. This whole thing sort of is cobbled together. It's thrown together. Is it actually going to work? And Casey Thompson ended up being the guy who just kind of he fought through injuries. And because of that, he's well liked among the people here. But just wasn't going to happen.
By all accounts, a good kid.
A good kid.
I guess.
A good kid.
A big grown-ass man now at this point.
Yeah, a good 25-year-old. Whatever you call that.
I got a little nugget here.
You got a Casey nugget?
No.
Oh,
if we're moving off Casey, I have a nugget. I'm sorry.
We are, but we were also going to take a break.
Well, this is very quick.
Okay.
This is coming from a Giants reporter, so let's go grain of salt here.
Oh, is this about the Buffalo thing?
No.
Okay.
Caleb Williams wants assurances that the Bears will be trading the first overall pick. Williams and his camp have no interest in playing in Chicago.
Caleb, once again, not how it works. I wish you good luck, my friend. You don't get to own an NFL team. You don't get to you don't get to tell the NFL. You could use your leverage however you'd like it. Just know it doesn't really reflect that well on you. Jeez, doesn't want to play for the Bears, according to some.
According to some.
All right, we'll come back. We'll hit one quick thing. Oh, I'd like to bring to light a trend that the children are up to.
Yes, I have some questions.
Just to check in on the kids, and that'll be the perfect lead into our good friend Stephen M. Sipple, who will join at 12:30. All to come on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. NFL playoffs this weekend, wild card weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You bet the NFL playoffs on FanDuel. You can get a dub. It's easy to. In fact, America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel Sportsbook, is all your favorite bets, money line, point spread, everything in between, prop bets, anytime touchdown scores, same game parlays. You've heard all the features over and over and over again. But here's the deal. Every day there's an NFL playoff game, FanDuel is giving all customers a no-sweat same-game parlay. That's right. Every day that an NFL playoff game takes place, FanDuel is giving all customers a no-sweat same-game parlay. And that I said all customers. So take a look at any of the games on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You get a no-sweat same-game parlay. You know what no sweat means, right, Josh? Yeah, you win. Pretty much you win no matter what. So when you combine all your bets for a chance at a bigger payday, you'll get bonus bets back if your SGP doesn't win. Just visit FanDuel.com/Happer. If you don't already have an account, make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and over, present in Iowa. Minimum 3-leg parlay required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Hanley@1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Your Omaha Mavericks hockey team is back in action at Baxter Arena as the Mavs take on the top 10 ranked Denver Pioneers Friday and Saturday, January 19th and 20th. Get your tickets for these games and all remaining games as the Mavericks compete for the NCHC Championship. Let's pack the Baxter. Get your tickets now by calling the box office at 402-554-MAVS or by going to omavs.com/tigs.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is your home for the big game. Whether it's the NFL or a rivalry on the hardwood, you will find all the action on Oscar's top-of-the-line audio-video system. With 40 TVs and massive dual projectors, the game has never looked better. Pair that with their award-winning char-buffed wings and $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has everything you need. 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard. Takes too long.
Not with Babel. Babel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope, and they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks.
Even better.
Since Babel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babel doesn't take long.
And with Babel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Start learning a new language today. Go to Babel.com. That's BABBEL.com. Babel.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Woodhouse GMC is bringing you more for the new year. With every new GMC purchase from Woodhouse, we're including 3 years of scheduled maintenance. Plus, with our current finance offers going on now, you'll save even more. Receive up to $7,000 off MSRP on the new 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 SLT. Woodhouse GMC, we are professional grade. With approved credit, must have 2009 or newer trade-in to qualify. $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires January 31st, 2024. See dealer for details.
Josh! You have apologies to make all around.
No.
You have to admit it when you have been tricked.
I don't have to. I mean,
you are
yes.
a professional.
Yes.
You can't pass along fake news.
I've been told during the break that the Caleb Williams report is from one of those guys who poses as a guy. Which,
Josh,
okay, that's fine.
It's got to make it through another barrier before it gets to the air.
Yes, those barriers are the people I follow on Twitter who are actual journalists.
Oh, so you're using the excuse of they retweeted it?
Yes.
I don't buy it.
A lot of our fine reporters from one of the neighboring states that we might have some beef with today.
Blaming the Iowa media for you getting canceled?
No, I'll hold the L. That's fine, but I'm letting everyone know my thought process for bringing that to the Connor Happer Show.
So Caleb Williams, upstanding human being.
Loves the Bears.
Okay, loves the Bears. Got it.
Bears fans, don't worry.
Here's what the kids are up to these days.
Please.
The new trend, apparently, from the Gen Zers. This is from the New York Post. I'm going to read you probably a pretty good chunk of this article, actually.
Oh, okay.
The last thing a teenager wants is to pose for a family photo. But oftentimes, parents force their Gen Z children to pose for a snap anyway. Cue the nose cover. The Zoomers are covering the middle of their faces with their hands in an attempt to keep their faces out of the picture while still kind of appeasing their parents. Venezuela Fury, the daughter of boxer Tyson Fury, and her cousin Valentino have been captured shielding their faces from the camera on more than one occasion lately, raising a question. Why?
Yeah.
Quote, after several attempts to snatch the perfect Christmas family photo, I turned to my teen and finally asked him, why? Parent Michelle Harris told The Sun, is everything okay? Why won't you show up in family photos for the handsome boy that you are anymore? And then the big whopper, are you being bullied? These are all normal questions from a parent. Here's the response. Her son's response was a surprise. She recalled, quote, from the Gen Z child, no, but I will be if you post pictures of me online without my consent.
Wow.
The article continues. Teens nowadays are extremely online and often seek out embarrassing photos of each other on social media to, quote, roast them. covering their faces is a way to potentially evade teasing. Let's just stop midstream there real quick. Josh, thoughts so far?
I hate the youth of America.
Good thought. Good thought.
Mom, don't take
without my consent was amazing. That is a great line from like a 6-year-old or like a 13-year-old.
That
is an amazing. Don't you get pictures of me online without my consent? It's like, yes, I can. I'm your mom. This is how every generation of all time, there are just embarrassing pictures of you. That's how it works.
A photo montage to play at your high school graduation.
Yep.
Of you
As
with
we go
SpaghettiOs all over your face.
Oh, you're naked. I can see your little pee-pee.
You're in the tub.
What's going on there? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Children.
Soft.
It's absolutely generation so soft. The parent Harris says, quote, as parents, we want to capture it all. Their first step, every tooth, the braces, the spots. And then the spots, I don't know what that is. And then we proudly post in our online social media circles mindlessly without stopping to think how damaging this could be to our youngsters within their own online social groups. Now we get into a fun part of the article that features a parenting expert.
Oh, good.
Parenting expert Amanda Jenner also attributes the budding trend to teenagers' acne-riddled awkward phase, a period where they aren't embracing their appearance. Quote, it's important to remember that this phase is a normal part of growing up, where seeking independence and establishing personal boundaries are key developmental milestones. However, the online landscape can be hard for teens, she added, especially when unfiltered or unedited photos of them are plastered on a parent's Facebook feed. The nose cover allows them to be in a photo and to make their parents happy while still maintaining autonomy. I'll stop there, Josh. It actually makes both worse.
Yes.
It makes your parents more angry, and it makes the picture more easy to make fun of you for. So,
why are you covering your face? Because you're ugly?
Here's a little wisdom for you children who are going like this in your pictures now with your parents so they don't post them on Facebook. They're still going to post them on Facebook, number one. Number two, you look more stupid.
And quite honestly, your parents just going to worry about you more. Like, oh, my child doesn't have a base level of self-esteem that allows for a candid photo to be taken. What have I done wrong as a parent to warp my child into this odd coping mechanism?
The parenting expert said, quote, it's very sad that we can't share and be proud of our family photos, but unfortunately, this is the way it is today.
Nope, doesn't have to be. You're the parent. Put your damn hand down or we're not going anywhere.
I'm going to cut your hand off. Harris continues, this is the parent again. Perhaps we should be asking for our teenagers their consent and making negotiations about what we can and can't post. After all, I wouldn't feel comfortable about a spotty photo of me being shared online either. Would you? So kids are canceled. Just wanted to bring that to people's attention. Not the first time we've talked about Gen Z being horrible, but this is obviously a good example of it. So I wanted to bring it to the light today because we had a couple minutes. You're welcome.
The kids are not all right.
Get your kids in order. Don't let them cover their face.
I mean, my 4-year-old smiling for him is like a full body exercise. I know it's terrible radio, but
guess what? Like, those pictures will be in his graduation slideshow.
That's right.
That'll be projected on some sort of like a space wall or something like that. And everybody will think it's funny. And nobody will make fun of him for it online.
No public photos of my child on the internet.
That's right. Josh gets it. Okay. Just thought I'd bring that up. Take what you will from it.
There's a lot of middle ground, but also kids get tough.
Thank you. Steve Sipple, speaking of tough. Steve Sipple's next on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on the crossover.
Brian says after the 0-2 Jamal Lord INT Texas game, I went outside and lit a Husker car flag on fire.
Oh my God.
I was so angry. The next morning, my mother found a pink glob of goo outside and thought someone got sick from alcohol.
How does lighting a flag on fire turn into something that looks like pink vomit?
Those flags are a weird material.
Mornings with Sharp and Hanley. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Winter storm warning continues Friday with snow, wind, and extreme cold. Expect an additional 2 to 4 inches to accumulate through the early afternoon, bringing storm totals in the metro closer to 7 to 10 inches. Northwest winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour will cause near whiteout conditions and blowing snow concerns into the evening. Highs in the single digits with wind chills 10 to 20 below zero. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
Food insecurity is a real problem in my community. I'm helping my neighbors get the food they need by volunteering with Food Bank for the Heartland.
Give back to your community by donating or volunteering. Visit foodbankheartland.org to get started.
At Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands, one youth, one mentor, plus one moment could unlock limitless potential. When you sign up to become a mentor, you're matched up 1-to-1 with a child in the Omaha community. Sign up today at mentoromaha.org.
The world's on fire. Attacks in the Middle East. Ukraine and Russia at war. And right here, Joe Biden has created a dangerous threat to every American. Biden's open border policies have opened the floodgates to a record number streaming in, 12,000 in one day alone. This means increased terrorist threats and even more deadly fentanyl being delivered to our neighborhoods. President Trump will change that. He'll secure our borders by building even more wall. He'll end visitors from terrorist countries being allowed to enter. And Trump will treat the drug cartels the same as he treated terrorists who kill Americans. President Trump, the strength to protect our borders and our families.
I'm Donald Trump, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Donald J. Trump for President 2024, Inc.
Take your home to the next level with Level countertops, cabinets, and flooring. If you have a kitchen, bath, or closet that is completely dysfunctional, now is the time to make them functional. Level countertops, cabinets, and flooring is your expert for taking your home to the next level. The staff will listen to your needs and dreams and create a unique space specifically for you and your family. Visit the showroom at 192nd and West Maple or online at levelomaha.com. That's levelomaha.com.
Omaha Maverick women's basketball travels to Fargo tomorrow to take on North Dakota State. Tip-off is at 1 o'clock. Hear all of the Omaha women's action against North Dakota State tomorrow at 1 on 1180 The Zone.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Since 1972, family-owned and locally roasted Host Coffee Service has been roasting the finest coffee for businesses and restaurants. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
All right, we'll see if we can track down our good friend Stephen M. Josh, take us a little bit behind the curtain. 0 for 3 on first calls to guests today. Usually Munson's a first ring guy.
I've literally never heard Munson's voicemail message before until today.
BC's usually very prompt.
Yep.
And you never know with Sipple. He'll text me. Odds he texts me within the next 3 minutes and says, "Hey, I'm good now.
I'm good.
Sorry, I was caught up.
I'm all jammed up.
Bud Elliott just offered a thought on Twitter
that
I thought was interesting. So all signs are kind of pointing to Kalen DeBoer to Alabama at the moment, which once again, we've already talked about how crazy that is. But which currently entrenched starting quarterback dips into the portal when Kalen DeBoer gets the Alabama job?
Ooh.
Who wouldn't want to play quarterback for Kalen DeBoer?
Pretty good track record.
Yeah. Not bad at all. He coached Michael Penix. He coached Jake Haener. Both of them, I mean, I don't even know how talented, quote unquote, either of those guys are, but they both turned into NFL players, right? I guess we'll see what happens with Jake Haener. He was out this whole year, I think. But anyway, it's a pretty good opportunity for some quarterback in there who is maybe at a spot right now and wants to be the quarterback at Alabama. Now, we don't know. I will say this, the videos are insane right now. We're about one more coach away from a couple things happening. Number one, Hayes Fawcett getting involved with graphics for coaches staying at their jobs. I guess there's three things. Number two, the social media accounts of if anybody over at Werner Park, I guess Werner Park's probably closed today, but anybody with the Storm Chasers is currently listening, here's free content for you. Do some sort of spinoff on how your coach is staying and not going to be the coach of Alabama. Mike Jershely is staying and he's not going to be the coach of Alabama. That's content for today. Josh, you could say, I'm staying. I will not be the coach of Alabama.
They offered. I said, no, thank you.
The third thing is what you said earlier. We are one Kalen DeBoer no away from this turning into something very, very different than what we thought it was going to be with the Alabama coaching search. Once again, I think we're probably headed toward Kalen DeBoer City, but
boy, it sure seems that way.
I feel like, if he says no, the question is, where do you go? What happens after?
Yeah, because
they would have exhausted all of the names that came up on the list at first.
There's zero buzz around Lane.
That would probably be the next name that you would go to.
It doesn't seem like James Franklin, who's normally in the mix for these things, is in the mix for these things.
So if we play this out, could you see a scenario, and maybe I don't even have to convince you on this, Josh, but could you see a scenario where we get into Tennessee Schiano territory with the next Alabama head coach?
You name a guy floated as a name to gauge reaction.
Everybody riots, and then Alabama pulls out. I could.
They did not like Bill O'Brien, correct? They were unimpressed,
Bama?
Right?
I guess I don't know. Maybe not. They're never really impressed by anything, though.
That's true. What? He's nicknamed the Teapot?
Bill O'Brien?
Bill O'Brien? I didn't know that.
Did you know that Bill O'Brien's nickname was the Teapot?
Yeah, that's going up there.
Poll question.
I will spell Bill O'Brien correctly, I promise.
Thank you. It's important. Skip Bayless. Anyway, I just keep that in mind. We might be headed down a path that is a little bit different than we thought how it was going to go at first at Alabama. I think what most of these coaches have said, just like, Sark and Mike Norvell and Dan Lanning are like, look, man, with the exception of Norvell, who knows if there was contact or not, or a job offer or not. But, Dan Lanning said, we were pretty good last year. We lost 2 games. Team that went to the national championship. We feel like we're well positioned to move into the Big Ten. We are getting this recruiting thing off the ground. Like I like it here, and we can win here. Let's stay. I'm in the Big Ten. We make as much money as anybody else in the world. I'm good with that. Same thing with.
I'm comfortable. I don't want to work in that shadow.
Same thing with Sark.
Like, no, thank you.
Sark's got a good spot. He's got his next 3 years of quarterback set up.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of talent. He's in a great spot. He's in the SEC. Why do you need to go over to Alabama to do whatever you want to accomplish in college football? You don't. They were just in the playoff this year. So I think that's probably what those guys have said. Obviously, they've gotten raises.
Yeah, I'm here now. We got it up and running. I just got a fat raise. I don't need that.
Yep. So Alabama's dipping into some interesting territory.
Because if Sark wins at Texas, Golden God. If Dan Lanning wins anything at Oregon, Golden God.
Absolutely. Nobody's won the big one.
Yeah.
Elsewhere in college football, I mentioned this earlier with Munson as far as a recruiting perspective is concerned. I would like to take this time to comment briefly on Deion Sanders' program at Colorado. Deion Sanders famously will not be the next head coach at Alabama. But
you don't know that.
You could convince me it's not a horrible idea, by the way. You really could. You could convince me it's not a horrible idea.
A couple of Aflac guys cutting it up.
Yeah. That program is so, like, it gives off the worst vibe out of any vibe you could possibly get. It's so low energy. It's so low effort. It is like we are literally flying in. We're going to play football here. And we don't like, it's not staked to the ground in any way, shape, or form. It feels as if the top can rip off at any moment with Colorado football. I have continued to been bothered about the way that they recruit. Not because, it doesn't have anything to do with money or flash or anything like that. I just think they're lazy as hell. I think it's a lazy program.
Would you go so far as to say unserious program?
Yes, an unserious program. Shedeur Sanders tweets 2 days ago, Alabama players tap in.
They're just doing it through Twitter.
Yeah. Have you heard anything different from Coach Prime? Coach Prime all the time is like, hey, come on. Where you at, cornerbacks? Where you at, linebackers? Where you at, offensive linemen? We need you. It's just so, like, and people fall for it. People are like, oh, yeah, sure, I can go play in Colorado. I'll go start right now. I'll play for Coach Prime. Great idea. It's so low effort. It doesn't feel like they scout. It doesn't feel like they do any homework. It's just like, who wants to come play here? Come play here. Do you have stars attached to your name? Did you play at Georgia last year? Did you play at Alabama last year? Sick. You can start for us. Let's go create a football team. It does not seem conducive to success, obviously. If you have good enough players, then you could cover up a lot of what you lack in other areas. But it once again doesn't seem like an environment that's conducive to success.
And it doesn't seem like there's a strategy either. Just, hey, letting you know, we'll leave the light on for you.
Yep. Come play here. Please come play here. My follow-up would be, Josh, why? Well, I don't really know. I'm here.
Sell me.
That's why. I don't really know. I took a chance. I'm here. So that's cool. Nope. Don't buy it. Wouldn't buy it for 1 second. I'm also not a 5-star football player or a 4-star football player or any kind of football player at all.
3-star?
No, not even that.
Wow.
Zach emails in on the Equitable Bank inbox.
Hi, Zach.
Subject line, Deion. Possible, ? Norvell to Alabama. Deion to FSU. Norvell has reaffirmed his commitment to Florida State as of this morning.
That
would be an interesting thing, though.
Yes. Florida State would have really had to make a decision.
I wonder, Josh, how far we get down the line before we start having the Coach Prime to Alabama conversation. How far are we away from that? A week? Less?
You say that. That was Stephen A. Smith's suggestion on First Take this morning.
Yeah.
Was who should replace him?
I don't think we're that far away from the conversation being in our world. And could you imagine? You thought last year was bad. Oh, you would never hear the end of it.
That man and that microscope.
Yeah.
Alabama, why don't you go get yourself a nice Mike Loxley?
So much like the kids covering up their faces for pictures with their family, I just wanted to put that on your radar. I want you to be prepared for it when it happens, because Stephen A. Smith's not going to be the last person to say it. If Alabama doesn't find their coach by the end of the weekend, it's going to happen. I don't know that Deion to Alabama is going to happen, but the conversation is going to start bubbling.
I feel pretty confident that it's not going to happen.
You feel like it's going to be DeBoer and that's it. I feel that way. I feel that way.
I feel that way, but also there's a sicko inside of me that goes, I want to know what happens next if he says no.
I kind of do too.
I don't think it's going to get there, though.
Zach also follows up with his email from an email that he sent earlier. There's no way those coaches leave for the Alabama job now, the ones that already reaffirmed their commitments to their own school. Signed Miami Dolphins coach Nick Saban. Fair.
Very fair.
We just go off of what we think we know. That's all. That's all we can do. Josh thinks he knows that Caleb Williams hates the Bears.
I mean, he can't love the Bears. Am I right?
Also, by the way, we're still going to have Michigan. I think we're going to have to do that at some point.
There's going to be a famous Michigan man conversation.
Yeah. So there's still some things to come on that horizon. Back with more when we return in the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. This weekend we have NFL football for you all. The Chiefs and the Dolphins from the. I wonder if they'll come up with a fun name for this game, Josh. The Frozen Bowl, the Cold Bowl,
Ice Bowl,
yeah. The Mud Bowl, whatever it ends up being in Kansas City.
Blizzard Bowl.
If you feel like it's too disgusting to watch on TV, you can listen.
You're so principled that you refuse to pay for it.
You can listen right here, 6 o'clock tomorrow, 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show. Follow us on Twitter @Happer Show for all the latest news and views. We may even say something interesting once in a while.
Unlikely.
Really, guys? Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620 The Zone.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Start your engines.
Joe's Indoor Karting in Council Bluffs is off the charts crazy. Joe's Karting is fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing action at over 40 miles per hour. The only speed restriction on these karts is how good you are. Joe's Karting is located just a couple of blocks north of Bass Pro Shop and directly east of AMC Theater in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Go watch a movie. Come race at Joe's. Planning a bachelor party, graduation party, or just a night out with friends. Go to Joe's. Remember, Joe's Karting is your place to race.
There's a reason people are joining the movement behind Nikki Haley.
She's a very, very successful governor.
Haley shows us what American foreign policy looks like with a spine.
Your family deserves a president with grit and grace, a different style, not a name from the past. Nikki Haley will secure our border, restore our economy, and make our nation respected once more. Listen to Nikki Haley.
Our moment is now. Our mission is clear. Let's save our country and secure our future, and let's move forward together toward our destiny in a strong and proud America.
Iowa, it's time to caucus. Go to NikkiHaley.com/Iowa to learn more. And on Monday, January 15th, don't forget to caucus for a new generation of conservative leadership. That's NikkiHaley.com/Iowa.
I'm Nikki Haley, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Nikki Haley for president.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
It hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, I never smoked a cigarette. How in the hell did I get lung cancer?
I don't smoke. I've never smoked. So I started Googling. One word just kept coming up, like it was in bold and red, and it was radon.
Radon is the number 2 cause of lung cancer.
Well, you don't know if it's in your home. You got to test. You can't see it. You can't taste it. You can't smell it.
What's your level? Radon Defense Midwest can help. Visit radonradio.com for a special offer. That's radonradio.com.
Mason Daniel writes in.
Hello, Amazing.
Says this just in, former head coach Mike Riley staying put with the New Jersey Generals.
Wow.
Unclear if he realizes the Generals have folded or that the 2002 offer to lead Alabama has presumably expired. Yeah, that was always the thing. We loved that when we hired Mike Riley. We were like,
former Bama guy.
He had offers to go elsewhere, and he was going to be the coach at He could have been the coach at Alabama, but he stayed at Oregon State, and he stuck it out. And we loved that. I love all the instances of us convincing ourselves of things over the years. It's really quite great. I am absolutely I've done this. I do this. That was my exact take. Probably. Hey, you could have been there. Why not?
Who says no?
It's from Adam Schefter.
Shefty?
Yeah, Shefty. So going off of the quote-unquote report yesterday about Buffalo and the lake effect and the game getting moved to Cleveland, most of the NFL reporter community is bitten back on the idea that that game was going to get moved at all, or was even really under consideration to get moved. Schefter sent out a tweet a few minutes ago that said that the NFL is monitoring weather conditions as it does for all games, and then followed that up with, teams have been told that it's status quo in Buffalo Sunday at noon. So you can throw that one away. It sounds like they're going to play in the snow in Buffalo. Oh, the snow.
As God intended.
As God intended. It's exactly right. Good. It's a good thing.
It's a great thing.
It's like those soft kids covering up their faces. I wanted to get to some basketball over the weekend as well. Oh gosh. Oh yeah. This was the other thing that we were going to mention. So we were just talking about Mike Norvell and him staying at Florida State and all the stuff with Alabama. So the news yesterday on Florida State did not involve, well, I guess it sort of involved Mike Norvell, but it wasn't particularly about him. The NCAA yesterday announced significant penalties against Florida State's football team, including 2 years probation and disassociating with its NIL collective for 1 season for violating rules on using name, image, and likeness offers as recruiting inducement. Here is allegedly what has occurred, or I guess what they have found to have occurred. The prospect, who was not named by the NCAA but was reported by the AP to be Georgia offensive tackle Amarius Mims, removed his name for the transfer portal shortly after the meeting and remained at his previous school. Here is, okay, here it is. The NCAA didn't identify Atkins by name, but it said that the assistant coach, one of the assistant coaches, drove a prospect to a meeting with the head of the program's most prominent NIL collective during the prospect's official visit to campus. At the meeting, the booster offered the prospect $15,000 per month and encouraged him to play for the Seminoles. So this is kind of historic from the perspective of like, we haven't had NIL penalties really yet. I wonder what happens with like Tennessee and that whole thing. But I'm interested in the NCAA sort of cracking down on stuff like this. It feels like some sort of strong arm, like power move by the NCAA to try and gain some sort of control back, realizing that they've lost all control from NIL, how it works and how it's administered in general. But the problem with trying to levy penalties against teams and universities and NIL collectives is that like everyone does this, everyone is doing the same thing, and nobody's 100% clear like on the rules and I shouldn't say that. They're clear on the rules and what can happen, but I just think we've created this environment where it's kind of the wild, wild west. We got transfer portal, we got NIL. Guys are getting paid for stuff that, you know, would get them kicked out of school before. And if we've seen Heisman's taken away and wins vacated and championships vacated for stuff that is just legal now. And now we're going into the NIL world and saying, oh, you can't drive the guy to the facility to take the NIL meeting and make promises. Like, this is just like, I hate to break it to the NCAA. This is just what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say it any other way. I'm sure they know that, but it's weird to we're having a crackdown and we have to pick out one at a time to, number one, do these investigations, and number two, administer penalties. It
very much feels like, well, why'd you pull me over for speeding, officer? Everybody else was speeding too.
Everybody else.
Shut up. You're the one I pulled over.
Yeah, I guess so. It feels actually, let me go off that analogy and maybe see if I can tweak it a little bit.
Okay.
Guy speeds by you on the road and you get pulled over. The guy's going way over the speed limit. And you get pulled over because you're texting.
Okay.
And you get pulled over, or you get pulled over because you're not wearing your seatbelt or something like that. It's like, hey, look, right here.
That guy's going 100.
Yeah. You're going to pull me over for going the speed limit and wearing my seatbelt?
Jim Harbaugh's buying burgers for everybody.
Right. So, I don't know. We're going to pick and choose here. And Florida State just unfortunately, like, you want to talk about a school who actually can use the argument of like, look around. Michigan tried it with the whole cheating thing. Florida State can be like, what are we doing? What are we talking about here? This is happening right in front of your eyes, all across the country. The penalties mark the first time the NCAA has severed the relationship between a school and its NIL collective as part of an infractions case. It is also the first time the NCAA has punished a school coach or collective for using NIL as an inducement. It's a very gray area there, Josh. Are you using it as an inducement to come to the school, or do they just get paid a whole bunch of money because they went to the school out of the transfer portal and that's the setup that you got? It just so happened to be that way.
I still don't know what we're punishing them for.
For driving them to the...
What's the infraction?
Using it as an inducement. You can't do that, Josh. You can't do that.
It's got to be 100% hands off, right? That's okay.
No involvement with the university. Completely severed ties, right? It's just impossible. Coaches, including Nebraska's coach, have talked about their daily relationship with the NIL collective. You know? It's just It's just out there. Investigators did not find that Mike Norvell committed any of these violations, but he will be on the wrong side of this because his school has now severed ties with the NIL collective for a year. Now, I don't know what the rules on that are. Maybe they could just create another collective for a year and the same money goes into the players' pockets or whatever. Maybe it's not the biggest deal in the world, but it's certainly a pain in the butt. And yeah, kind of inconsistent. And that's the way, I mean, everybody looks the same in terms of college football and how they're using NIL right now, especially in the big time and in the transfer portal. Alex in Lincoln says,
"Hi, Alex.
Shouldn't have to worry about people speeding today."
True.
And look at this. Orbit buses are still working on Dodge Street.
Look at them.
Every time I look out the window, Josh, it looks worse.
You keep saying that, and it's kind of terrifying.
Yep.
Because it wasn't great driving in, but we got here.
Wasn't great driving in, and we'll make it back.
Oh, yeah.
My advice to people is like, you'll make it, but like it's a hassle.
Yeah, go slow. If that person around you looks like an idiot, they probably are an idiot, and get away from them.
Amazing Daniel writes in on the Florida State thing.
Hello, Amazing Daniel.
Punishing them for the noise they made about the playoff lawsuits and such. I promise you this doesn't happen otherwise.
I was kind of wondering about that. Sure feels like
Florida State has been awfully loud about things at the, things that are controlled by a higher power, I suppose, in recent weeks and months.
NCAA?
Higher power than them. The NCAA doesn't have anything to do with the playoff, but it's kind of, there's examples of this that we have over time. Teams make a big stink about something. Somebody makes a big stink about something. It's like, that's weird. What are they being investigated for? So, yeah. There's a lot of egos. People can't handle, being called out anymore. And maybe there's a part of that to this as well.
All right. Like a bit of bleep measuring.
No doubt about it. Always is with the old NCAA. All right, we'll come back. Still plenty to get to in the 1:00 hour, including our local basketball teams from over the weekend. Also, NFL games. We might grunt the slate, Josh.
I would be fine with that.
I would imagine they'd all be good grunts, but we have to keep them in context with the other games this weekend. Which ones are we most interested in? And we'll check in with Carmelo Anthony, who has a good conspiracy theory for us.
We love pro athletes and their conspiracy theories.
All to come on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Talking Connor.
The Connor Happer Show with Connor Happer and Josh Otson on 1620 The Zone.
Hi, guys. I love you.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
42 Degrees wants to start your year off right with hot deals on our best-selling premium e-juices from Aqua and Monster starting at $14.99. We have a large selection of disposables including Elf Bars, Tyson's, Flawless, and Rodman's starting at the low price of $9.99 with flavors like Cool Mint, Peach Berry, and Mad Blue. With 10 metro locations, the most knowledgeable, friendly, and professional staff. Why shop anywhere else? 42 Degrees. By your mom's
Restrictions
house.
apply. Products may contain nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
At Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands, one youth, one mentor, plus one moment could unlock limitless potential. When you sign up to become a mentor, you're matched up 1-to-1 with a child in the Omaha community. Sign up today at mentoromaha.org.
Hi, everybody. Kent Pavelka here with why I chose Everlevel Concrete Repair for my driveway. They do it all. They fix cracks, lift sunken slabs, protect the finished product from deterioration, and all at a fraction of the price of replacement. It's not a Band-Aid like other repair methods. Everlevel's products are designed to last, which is why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Better yet, it all comes with a transferable warranty. Protect your concrete before winter. Call Everlevel today for your free inspection. Everlevel, they make your driveway Everlevel. Level up.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Put your coffee department in good hands with Host Coffee Service, providing direct delivery and loaned coffee equipment with service programs. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever is on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
I'm Taylor Bisciotti with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. After 24 seasons and a record 6 Super Bowl titles, Bill Belichick is leaving the Patriots. Thursday morning, the coach and the team announced they have mutually agreed to part ways, ending the most decorated partnership in NFL history.
I'll always be a Patriot. I look forward to coming back here, but at this time, we're gonna move on, and I look forward, excited for the future, but always very, very appreciative of the opportunity here, the support here, and what Robert, what you've done for me.
Tom Brady also weighing in on his longtime coach, saying in part, quote, "I could never have been the player I was without you, Coach Belichick. I'm forever grateful, and I wish you the best of luck in whatever you choose next." This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Jackson Hewitt has a plan to get your tax refund fast. With a buck here, buck there. Here a buck, there a buck, everywhere a buck.
You don't have to wait weeks for your tax refund. Get money sooner with a no-fee refund advance loan at Jackson Hewitt.
On this loan, there's a money today guarantee. E-I-E-I-O.
Don't settle for chicken feed. Get fast bucks at Jackson Hewitt today. No-fee refund advance loans by Republic Bank offered to eligible clients. Money today guarantee if approved for a loan on a prepaid card. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Sponsored by Age of
KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone. Steve Sipple.
Hey! The conversation gets even more uncomfortable, okay?
Omaha! Steve Sipple on the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
Yeah, that's right. Steve Sipple. Surprise, Steve Sipple. Here in just 1 second. First, a midday traffic report from Jimmy Chavez.
I know him.
He says, here's your midday traffic report. Roads are awful. Too many cars in the road. Many not about this life, including himself, it appears. He says, snow minus 23.5 against Jeddah.
Oh, gosh. Was he driving a Jetta around town?
Apparently, yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So there's your amateur road report from Jimmy. It does not look good. Sipple was out there grinding. That's why he did not answer his phone. Hello, Sipple.
I was. It's crazy. I got 2 pretty big driveways to shovel, and I got one. I'm just taking a break, and I'm sorry, time got away from me.
No problem. You're gonna have to go back out there first to shovel the other driveway, and second of all, it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. We're just
great.
Yeah, it's just gonna keep happening. I don't know, Sipple. It doesn't look like it's gonna stop. Does it look like it's gonna stop to you?
Well, you don't have any data or anything, do you?
Well, I guess you don't really know if it's going to stop until it just stops. No, I don't have any data. It's just a feeling, I feel like we live in a snow globe now, and it's just turning really slowly.
Happer, your feelings don't matter much to me.
Facts don't care about feelings. Is that what you're saying? That's fair.
But thank you anyway.
Yeah, of course. So you've been busy lately on transfer portal all over the place. I mean, it's been a pretty low key busy week or so here for Nebraska football.
It really has, and they've done a great job. I don't mind saying it. It feels like you almost got to be apologetic when you say that, but they've done a tremendous job in the portal. Just tremendous. I don't. They address needs. They got good players, proven players. Those receivers are. It's when Sean Callahan started reporting all those guys that were visiting. He came out with an initial list, and I thought, "There's no way." I mean, they surely don't plan to get 2 receivers,
right?
And then they did.
It seems like every guy's name that is surfaced, they got.
Yeah, pretty much. There was that one that kind of was I found out about Tackett Curtis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that was an interesting one. I mean, he was off our radar because he never came to campus. He did a bunch of Zoom meetings with teams with a lot of high profile schools. And he did a 90-minute Zoom with Nebraska. I don't want to dwell too much on Tackett Curtis because Nebraska, they got a good inside linebacker in Stephon Thompson,
and he committed to where again?
Wisconsin. It was, but it was according to his uncle. His uncle told The Athletic that it was a war between Wisconsin and Nebraska.
Mm.
And, it came down, and Florida State was involved, and I don't know, Michigan, Texas A&M, a lot of big time LSU. The kid was maybe he was a 4-star player in high school, and Wisconsin recruited the hell out of him, the former coaching staff. So he had a familiarity with Wisconsin, and my read on it is that Nebraska would have kind of came in and tried to turn him, and they almost did. But that one got away. But no, these guys they got, I mean, just across the board, everything from Mazuka, the offensive lineman looks like a starter to me. The 2 receivers could be that, I think. The running back, I think he's 1 or 2. Who else are we talking about? That's the main guys. So yeah, I mean, I'm sort of startled by it.
One of the things, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I feel like in our conversations, one of the things that sort of has become apparent when you put all these things together is the kind of urgency maybe of all this stuff. Like that is one thing that I think I've appreciated about this. They've gone out and filled needs. It's not like they weren't going to, right. But it felt really calculated, and it feels like they really haven't missed a whole lot either. And I think that kind of spurs from, like, I guess this is the big picture topic that I wanted to bring up with you, Sipple. Like,
okay.
There was, when Rule got here, there was this sort of temperature of patience, right? It's gonna take some time, and we're gonna develop, and they're still gonna develop, and they'll get theoretically better as they go. But it feels like that has really dialed up. The temperature has gone higher within the last month here as Nebraska looks toward next season.
Urgency. Yeah, I think you're right. But here's what I think, Happer. I think that maybe I agree with you, except I don't necessarily agree with the last month. I think this has been, I think it goes back to Rule realizing at some point, and I kind of base this on things I've heard. I think he was taken aback a little bit when they scuffled at the start. That what were they? Were they 0-2?
Yeah.
Lost their first couple games, and he was taken aback by the sort of the reaction,
like how harsh it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now I should be careful because I've never discussed it with him, but I think that this might, let's just put it this way. I think this might be a kind of a bigger, broader discussion about just this place and where it's at, and that season it didn't feel like there was a lot of patience to me. It just didn't. It never feels like that to me.
No, but they could have gone into this off. They could have continued on the path that they were on, but it feels like they've hit some sort of, I don't know if it's an exit ramp, but like I said, it feels like it's changed a little bit.
Maybe changed a little bit, and I think some of that is a little more recent, and that it's Raiola, right?
I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Raiola changes the conversation. I just get a sense of it from, hearing from Dom now. I mean, they're not. The Raiolas don't think of this as a long-term, okay, it's going to take a while. That's not the way they operate.
Right.
So I think when you talk about these two receivers, for instance, there's no doubt in my mind that Dylan was a big part of that, that getting both of them. They both, Banks alluded to it. I don't know that anybody talked to Nayor. I'd have to look back, but I know, they were with Dylan. And I know Dominic was excited about those receivers. So I think, I do think there's, and Happer, the other part of the urgency discussion is this. There's a reality in this discussion. This is where I always go with it. There's a reality in that if you're not equipped for the Big Ten, you're going to get steamrolled, and it's going to be really embarrassing. And you can't go to your fan base and go, "Hey, everybody, we just need to be patient."
I love this. Yes.
Yeah, we need to be patient. You know what? Oregon is super physical, and they will embarrass the hell out of you like Michigan did if you're not careful. Michigan embarrassed the Rule. He was embarrassed. He had to have that practice. He felt the need to practice on Sunday. Okay, after that, it was embarrassing. Come on, that's what it was, and that could happen if you're not equipped. I think a lot of it is just somewhat self-preservation. I mean, you got to get guys in here. You got to get dudes that give you a chance even against the top teams. And I think they've done a good job of that.
Well,
so I don't know if it's, and I just don't, I just don't buy patience. I don't.
I'm with you.
Everybody talks about it. Everybody talks about it in the off season, and then nobody's patient when the season starts.
Yeah,
Right?
It changes in a hurry. Your first point is really interesting though, because I've thought about that too. Rule is pretty, Matt Rule. He is pretty in tune with just sort of how people feel about the program, and he hears it. And I've always felt like there's an undertone with him of him sort of feeling like he owes it to the state or owes it to the fans because of their constant undying support of the football program, and how it's been rewarded with nothing before he
nailed it. That's a huge part of it. I mean, he does feel like, you put it really well. I mean, he knows he's very in tune with the hunger of this fan base, and he picks up on that kind of thing quickly. And I do think that is part. I think there's a lot that goes into that conversation, that urgency conversation, and what we're seeing, and then that they feel. And then the other part of this is that's really interesting. Maybe it goes without saying a little bit, but somebody mentioned it to me this morning, so it's on my mind. This doesn't happen without a lot of money. I mean, this meaning you're not bringing in this caliber of player from the transfer portal. These guys without you're paying money. You're paying quite a bit of money.
Well, there's this. I think it connects back to what we were talking about too with the urgency part. There's this like from top to bottom. Whether you're talking about top being, Trev or the NIL thing, like whatever it might be, top to bottom, there is this kind of, I think we maybe have talked about it before, but just this kind of clock that maybe you feel like you're on now with the quarterback obviously factors into it big time with Raiola. But I just think everybody's sort of on that same page of like, all right, it's go time. And maybe that button feels like to me as if it's just recently been hit, or maybe that was coming.
Yeah. Now we agree on the urgency,
but
I don't
just
think
when.
Yeah. I don't think it's recent. I think it's Rule realizing pretty quickly in his tenure that, he saw he got into the Big Ten and saw what it. Just even going to Minneapolis and seeing a full stadium, and seeing the level of intensity and seeing the level of physicality that Minnesota played with.
They were very clearly like energized by, not by losing, but by seeing that they could. I think they saw that maybe they could make some hay, like that they can get there in a short amount of time.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think that like games like that made an impression on Rule. That, wow, this is Minnesota. They're not even that good. They weren't even that good this year.
No.
And they were physical. I watched that bowl game against that MAC team, and they looked really good. Minnesota looked really good in that game, especially on defense. So yeah, and I think Rule just Happer. I think maybe it's about self-preservation more than anything. That you just the knowledge that you can't compete in this league if you don't have big physical receivers and a big veteran line, and you just get shoved around, and you end up kind of hoping on Saturdays that you can hang in there, and that's really no way to live. And I think we all know Rule. That's not the way he's cut out.
Nope.
He doesn't want to go into Saturday hoping we can hang in there. That's not Rules. That's not his personality.
Not at all. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Sipple. So it feels like, and there's been some reporting now within the last 10 minutes here since you've been on with us, that signs are very much pointing to Kalen DeBoer being the next head coach at Alabama. Your reaction?
It's great. It'd be a great choice. I don't know if he was the number one choice, but he does. He's a Jimmy Sexton coach, as are Lanning and Sarkisian, so he fits in that regard, and he fits in every regard. It's now the question will be, okay, will he take it? We know that Sarkisian was on the radar. We know Lanning was on the radar. This is all very predictable. This is a lot of what national pundits were saying that would happen exactly.
Yeah,
they would go to Lanning, they would go to Sarkisian, then they would go to DeBoer. Those are all three Jimmy Sexton guys. Okay. Now, the question I have in my mind is, where do they go if DeBoer turns it down? I don't think DeBoer will turn it down, by the way.
It doesn't seem like it at this point.
Right. Now, he has an extension offered. He didn't sign it. Again, he got Jimmy Sexton as an agent. It just seemed like he was maybe positioning himself just in case. And here we are. So, yeah, I think Vern will want to lock him in this weekend, So that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like is going to happen. The most interesting thing would be if he turns it down. Then what?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Maybe it's not interesting. Maybe people just say no. Then they go to Norvell. I don't know if you can do it now with what's happening at Florida State with the NCAA. I don't know if you can do it. So then what?
Yeah, I don't think we're getting there, Sipple. Pete Thamel said a couple minutes ago here, Washington's Kalen DeBoer is on the cusp of getting the Alabama job. Finality expected soon.
There you go. Great choice. Great choice. I was sort of taken aback by people kind of crowning DeBoer. Guys in a local media like Sean Callahan, me and him were kind of butted heads. But watching that team in the national title game, it was serious football. That's a serious team that he put together, and he put it together.
Well, we were just talking about the rise of Kalen DeBoer. He was the coach at the University of Sioux Falls at the start of Nick Saban's tenure. I wonder what he would have said if you would have told him that he was going to be Nick Saban's successor when he was at the University of Sioux Falls winning NAIA national championships.
It's amazing the way life works sometimes. He's a real coach. He looked at his record at Sioux Falls. He lost 3 games.
3 games. Yeah.
Yeah. 60-3 or something like that. Did it at Fresno State, and then had a remarkable 2 years at Washington. And I think just people recognize what kind of football Washington played. If you just watch it, you get it. You see it. And he didn't put all of that team together, but a lot of those guys, Penix, and he brought in one of those big time receivers. He brought in the running back. His fingerprints were all over that.
Yep. Interesting times to come to for Washington as well, who joins the Big Ten next year and is without their top 3 offensive weapons, and now their head coach, it appears. All right, Sipple. Be safe out there while you're scooping, and enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you later.
Hey, thanks for adjusting. We'll do it again.
Anytime. Steve Sipple of HuskerOnline.com on 3. Also, early break on 93.7 The Ticket in Lincoln. Looks like it. Kalen DeBoer to Alabama. We'll see what the temperature is like in Alabama after this, Josh. We'll see what the reaction is immediately.
I want to see what the numbers are too.
Take a dive on the boards. See what's popping down there.
Sexy Sexton's been getting everybody money this week.
Not James Franklin. Well. All right. A couple more things to hit. We'll let you know if that gets official during our time period. I would imagine that it will be official before unsportsmanlike conduct leaves the airwaves tonight.
Yes.
All right. We'll be back with more in a minute on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Hanley.
But if you like trophies, that's great. I like sexy victories. I would rather have sex than have a trophy. Okay? That's just who I am. All right?
I think we could all agree on that.
Wide receiver from Wake Forest. People say that I like big-bodied women. That might be the case. I don't discriminate. Okay? I like big-bodied wide receivers. That's why I like the guy from Wake Forest. Okay, back to Iowa.
Mornings with Sharp and Hanley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Winter storm warning continues Friday with snow, wind, and extreme cold. Expect an additional 2 to 4 inches to accumulate through the early afternoon, bringing storm totals in the metro closer to 7 to 10 inches. Northwest winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour will cause near whiteout conditions and blowing snow concerns into the evening. Highs in the single digits with wind chills 10 to 20 below zero. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
At Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands, one youth, one mentor, plus one moment could unlock limitless potential. When you sign up to become a mentor, you're matched up 1-to-1 with a child in the Omaha community. Sign up today at mentoromaha.org.
When it comes to the NFL playoffs, you've got to win one game at a time. But when you bet the NFL playoffs on FanDuel, one game can mean a lot of dubs. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, has all your favorite bets like the money line and the spread. Plus, Nick, all sorts of prop bets.
And Sharpie, there's people who like to just bet straight up point spreads. Maybe you're an anytime touchdown score, or you like to get into all of the parlays. Right now, every day, there's an NFL playoff game. FanDuel is giving all customers a no-sweat same-game parlay. That means when you combine all of your bets for a chance at a bigger payday, you'll get bonus bets back if your same-game parlay doesn't win. So just visit FanDuel.com/zone if you don't already have an account. That's FanDuel.com. Use the promo code ZONE. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Iowa. Minimum 3-leg parlay required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets. Which 21 plus and present in Iowa. Minimum 3-leg parlay required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
You can find pizza anywhere. But when you want pizza pie piled high with more toppings, that's when you come to my place, Godfather's Pizza. For a limited time, get your hands on 2 of my large one-topping pizzas. Pick pepperoni, beef, black olives, you choose. All this food for only $30. Feed your whole mob without breaking the bank. Hey, it's an offer you can't refuse. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
1620 The Zone is on location Friday, January 26th at American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska, in support of the Creighton Pink Out Game, a free home away from home for cancer patients and caregivers. You can find details on 1620thezone.com and at cancer.org/pinkout.
Jackson Hewitt has a plan to get your tax refund fast with a buck here, buck there, here a buck, there a buck, everywhere a buck.
You don't have to wait weeks for your tax refund. Get money sooner with a no-fee refund advance loan at Jackson Hewitt.
On this loan, there's a money today guarantee. E-I-E-I-DO.
Don't settle for chicken feed. Get fast bucks at Jackson Hewitt today. No-fee refund advance loans by Republic Bank offered to eligible clients. Money today guarantee if approved for a loan on a prepaid card. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
Moments ago, there was a car that was just sitting in the middle of Dodge Street. That is the situation weather-wise that we are in currently here in Omaha, Nebraska.
I'm gonna feel comfortable upgrading this to a stay at home if you can.
Yeah, this is real life. This is real life stuff. Don't go out. Don't do it.
Doesn't seem to be getting any clearer out.
No.
And that's no one's fault because the winds are whipping and it's a dry, powdery snow, so it blows all over the place.
But there's also still snow coming down. If you missed it, it seems like Kalen DeBoer is going to be the head coach at Washington. Yes, that's right. The man who was the Indiana offensive coordinator 4 years ago and the head coach of the University of Sioux Falls 15 years ago. Washington made a strong push to keep DeBoer, attempting to make him one of the country's top 10 coaches, according to Pete Thamel and his sources. Pete tweet. They offered to double his current base salary of $4.2 million up to $8.4 million. And it apparently wasn't enough. Nothing official yet, but we are trending that way in a mere probably minutes, hours, somewhere around there.
I would think we'd hear something. I mean, that's pretty concrete, but I'd think you'd hear the word in an hour.
Nick Saban will have his successor.
Apparently, no meetings have been held at Washington, and DeBoer is not at the facility.
Hey, his radio hit getting canceled this morning. That was really the sign, huh?
Yeah, that's what they were saying this morning. Like, this is unusual behavior.
Yeah. I wouldn't just let that go without a tweet. But if you figure if he's already on his way out the door, it's like, okay, let's do it. Let's throw this guy under the bus. Jeff asks on the text line,
hi, Jeff.
How are you guys getting home? Well, hopefully via car. But I'm starting to doubt that. We're going to give it an effort. We're going to give it a try. The thing that I'm actually the most concerned about is getting into my neighborhood. That won't be hit with a snowplow. Certainly hasn't been hit with a snowplow to this point. I think I'll be able to get right up to that point, and then it's going to be a grind from there. Luckily, I got a little downhill going into the house, so that's okay.
I'm one of the first in the neighborhood, one of the first houses in the neighborhood. So hopefully we can make it that small amount of feet.
You'll find a way. We'll find a way.
Oh yeah, we'll get there.
So I want to get into the storylines with our local basketball teams over the weekend. Creighton hosts St. John's, and Nebraska is at Iowa tonight. We've already actually taken you through Nebraska, so we'll kind of skip through that. It's a big game for them. Got a chance to earn some trust, I think, with the Nebraska fan base. I don't know if I expect Nebraska to win tonight. I would expect a lot of points. It's tough to shoot 60% from three. You know, they might. It's going to have to be a really good offensive night for them. I don't know where the stops are going to be tonight for Nebraska.
Yeah,
so
this is a tough game on the schedule. Regardless,
it's a tough game. It's a road game. I don't think there's any shame in losing it. But if you could do two things in a row that people don't expect you to do, that's going to earn you some pretty good equity, I think, within the fan base. Creighton hosts St. John's tomorrow. We'll be there if I can escape from my house in the morning.
True.
Also, the Big East is doing like a traveling road show.
Oh,
in the exhibit hall tomorrow.
Okay, let's go.
Jay's Live will be from there.
Wow.
Tomorrow.
Jay's Live on location.
That's a noon tip-off tomorrow, right here on 1620 The Zone. Shoot-around starts at, Josh, 10:30? 11?
Well, let's check the graphic. I believe it is a 10:30 start. 10.
10 o'clock in the morning.
Pre-game 11:30 with John Bishop. Tip-off at high noon.
There you go. But a couple other stories elsewhere in college basketball. First of all, I wanted to bring two things to your attention. Number one, Gonzaga, who lost at Santa Clara last night. Gonzaga will have to now win the WCC tournament if they'd like to go to the NCAA tournament.
Now what?
They do not have a good enough resume to make it. They don't have any wins.
Okay.
They don't have any wins over anybody, and they will continue to not have any wins over anybody. Their metrics look fine, but they don't have a resume.
I looked at their win-loss record this morning, and I was like, yeah, that's a little low for them. But...
I mean, they're not a dumpster fire by any stretch of the imagination, but they don't have a resume. They lost to Purdue. They lost to UConn. They lost to San Diego State. They lost to Santa Clara last night. They've also lost to Washington. Their top win at this point is USC, probably, with Bronny.
Okay.
It's not much to write home about.
No.
So they don't have a resume. They'll have to win the WCC tournament to get into the NCAA tournament. Will they? Probably.
Probably, and they will be unranked Gonzaga next week.
Yeah. So that's one to know about if we're talking West Coast basketball. The other item I'd like to bring to your attention is the UCLA Bruins. UCLA boasts one of the worst offenses I've ever seen. Now, they are coached by one Mick Cronin, who, if you're listening to this, you're like, well, they have one of the worst offenses I've ever seen. Their head coach is Mick Cronin. Handshake meme. This makes sense. This is kind of just what Mick Cronin does. UCLA, who joins the Big Ten next year, is 6-10. They got beat last night by Craig Smith's Utah, who's a good team, 90-44. 90-44. The game was 32-27 at one point. 33-27.
Utah scored 57 in the second half.
What's going on with UCLA basketball? And then I started to think about the whole coaching carousel a little bit last night, and I got kind of intrigued. I kind of took myself to some fun places.
Little basketball coaching carousel?
Yeah, it's coming.
Wow.
It's coming. Don't worry. We'll get there at some point. But I don't. Now, the thing with UCLA is they don't have any money. So he's got a giant buyout. He's got like a $20 million buyout.
That's right. The university is broke.
So they got no money. So he has to just leave. They can't come back with him next year. So he has to just leave. He has to go to somewhere else. Louisville might be interested. You know, I wouldn't be personally, but
they've lost 8 of 9.
It's a bad basketball team. Their only win was against Oregon State, who never wins.
They would definitely be canceled.
Yeah, they're canceled. Absolutely. They're going to the Big Ten next year. Things are going to get difficult for them.
Whoa, what is this team they lost to? Sorry.
Cal State Northridge?
Yeah.
That's the one. They lost to them. They don't score any points.
Hard to win a basketball
My little
game
KenPom says they have the 237th best efficiency offense in the country. That's not good for a high major team, Josh.
No, doesn't sound
You don't want to be that low.
It's a big number.
Back to finish things off. Poll questions. Tell you what to watch on 1620 The Zone.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
42 Degrees wants to start your year off right with hot deals on our top health and wellness products. Our best-selling Kratom extracts up to 20% off. Delta products starting at $4.99. You want to save up to 25% on the best premium flour in town? Then hurry down to any one of our 10 convenient locations and let the knowledgeable and friendly staff show you why 42 Degrees is the source for all your needs. Buy your mom's house.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Like eating out? Like saving money? Then get to Cobb's at 180th and Center, Shadow Lake Town Center, or 72nd and Jones for their daily specials. Tuesday is $3 off all burgers and sandwiches. Wednesday, buy any specialty pizza and get a one-topping 50% off. Then Thursday, all wings are $1 each when you order 10. And this just in, Cobb's in Shadow Lake now offers delivery. Click CobbsPizza.com to see the menu. Cobb's, pizza, and so much more.
Margot felt quite exquisite as she dipped her fries in mayo, gracefully extending her pinky to the sky. See, she had just saved by getting Cox Mobile for her family. Yes, more lines, more savings, Margot. Brilliant. She finished her cherry slush drink with a triumphant, exquisite indeed. Visit a Cox store and pay as low as $30 a line for 4 or more unlimited lines. 4 lines required for $30 per line price, max of 5 lines. Prices exclude taxes, device activation, and other fees and charges. Other restrictions apply.
The Kansas City Chiefs playoff run starts right now.
Stick in the pocket to throw. Big chase and he's sacked. Who got him? Chris Jones! Got him!
Saturday night at GEHA Field at Arrowhead. The Chiefs host the Miami Dolphins on Wild Card Saturday. Pre-game starts at 6 on your home for Kansas City Chiefs football.
Chiefs Dolphins AFC wildcard game Saturday night at 6 on 1620 The Zone.
How much do you worry about your debt?
With over $15,000 I owe, constantly it keeps me awake at night.
Accelerated debt settlement can cut your debt by up to 85% and in as little as 7 to 12 months.
I could be free of debt in no time?
That's right. Other debt settlement companies can take years to negotiate down your debt, but accelerated debt settlement moves fast.
The sooner I don't have to stress about my debt, the better.
Exactly. In just months, Accelerated Debt Settlement's legal team will negotiate your unsecured debt down 60, 80, even 100%. Your debt from credit cards, student loans, timeshares, medical expenses, and more cut down 60, 80, even 100%. And you'll save thousands of dollars in interest payments.
Finally, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
And a good night's sleep.
Now get free of debt in a year or less with Accelerated Debt Settlement. Just call 1-888-508-8051 and we'll get to work for you. That's 1-888-508-8051. 1-888-508-8051.
All right, poll questions at Happer Show on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Have you ever been lucky enough to fly into Minot?
Can't say that I have.
I haven't either. 92% also say no.
Wow, let's change that, America.
Nick Hanley, I think, is the only one. Which would you rather have right now? Hole in one or sex? Mine's easy.
Most voted on poll question of the day.
Hole in one. I'm not going to have that opportunity again.
Yeah.
Now,
it's the more rare occurrence.
If we can bring some nuance into the discussion, I don't want the hole in one to be given to me. You know, like I don't want it to just be like, yeah, you get credited with a hole in one. No, I want to make.
Okay.
I want to make this, and I also don't want any forces to like make the ball go in the hole. Like if you could just somehow just make me magically good at golf,
natural occurring.
Yeah. Then I'll take the hole in one. 56% say sex, but it's close. Do you believe Skip Bayless actually hit a hole in one? No, I don't, but that's just me.
I do kind of.
96% say no, Josh. That's very high. Did you know that Bill O'Brien's nickname is the Teapot?
Had no clue.
No.
Makes sense, though.
92% say no. Those are the poll questions, Josh. What are we watching?
We're watching the NFL playoffs this weekend. Cleveland at Houston tomorrow afternoon on NBC. Dolphins Chiefs 7 o'clock on Peacock. If you're too principled to pay for it, it's right here on 1620 The Zone for you as well.
Oppenheimer will be there too.
Yeah, in February.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to hang with the Browns-Texans game as long as it is close. will be at the Chiefs game by kickoff time, but some pregame might be missed from Mitch and the crew over there. Steelers-Bills noon Sunday, CBS. Packers-Cowboys 3 o'clock. Big Fox on Sunday, and then the nightcap. Rams-Lions should be a fun one on NBC. And the NBA doubleheader tonight on ESPN. Kings-Sixers at 6:30, followed by Pelicans-Nuggets at 9. College basketball tonight on BTN. 8:30 tip for Nebraska at Iowa. This feels fun.
Hell in a cell.
Yeah.
The opposite, actually. Points in a cell.
Noon Saturday on Big Fox. It is St. John's at Creighton. You can hear it on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg beginning at 10 a.m. Our coverage. ESPN Plus, we love big games on streaming services. 1 o'clock tomorrow, number 9 Oklahoma at number 3 Kansas. North Dakota State at Omaha tomorrow night on 1180. And in the afternoon, you get the women's version, Omaha at North Dakota State, again on 1180. And then Big Fox Saturday night, a big one in the women's game. Caitlin Clark and Iowa, ranked 3rd in the country, hosts number 14 Indiana. Wrestling tonight.
Assuming Indiana gets there.
Yes, they're leaving tomorrow morning, which feels like feels bold.
Yeah,
not a lot of wiggle room there. BTN tonight, 6:30 is when the Iowa-Nebraska wrestling match starts.
Let's go, Nash.
Should be a fun one.
Polar Bear.
True Detectives back on HBO Sunday night, 8 o'clock. Jodie Foster stars in this season. 2 detectives must discover what happened to 8 scientists who mysteriously vanished. Martin Scorsese's latest film starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro, Killers of the Flower Moon, is on Apple TV. Now, Connor, right now. It's 3.5 hours long. Moment. So maybe you're snowed in. Now's a great opportunity to watch a 3.5 hour long movie.
I'm still going to pass.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's fine.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That's what we're watching tonight and this weekend. Enjoy the NFL football. I certainly will.
Hell yeah.
Nick Grimm probably won't.
No, he's going to have a bad time.
That's the show. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. The crossover is next.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
It's the most time-honored tradition to start the weekend, grabbing a cold one from a local Nebraska brewery. Let's be real here. It's cold outside, and you don't want to drink the same boring beer as those Hawkeye fans. Drink Nebraska-brewed beer, cider, or seltzers instead. Each week, we're putting the spotlight on a unique Nebraska brewery with One Beer Friday. Share your brew on social media with the hashtag One Beer Friday, and you'll be entered to win a $25 gift card to a local Nebraska brewery. Nebraska is the good life with great beer. Click nebraska.beer to learn more.
Hey folks, Kent Pavelka again to tell you about your local concrete experts at Everlevel Concrete Repair. Now, if you have cracked, uneven concrete, Everlevel can fix it at a fraction of the cost compared to replacement. This is no Band-Aid. Their products are built to last. It gives your concrete the durable protection it needs, and there's still time. I chose Everlevel for my driveway, and I've got peace of mind with their long-term transferable warranty. Everlevel's products and customer service are top-notch, and that's why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Say it with me. Everlevel, Everlevel, Everlevel.
Brent Rasmussen of Mortgage Specialists.
Here's a fact that doesn't seem to get mentioned enough. Owning a home actually helps you build personal wealth. Homeownership is a huge factor in building personal wealth. There are some naysayers who say it's too expensive, but rates will come down, and when they do, the competition is going to be fierce. One financial statistic shows that the net worth of those that own a home is 40 times greater than those that rent. So maybe take a few minutes to call me at Mortgage Specialists to go through the reasons why, even though the current market is different, why it's always a good time to buy a home to build your net worth. I'm Bryan Rasmussen. Call me at Mortgage Specialists and we can show you all the details. Mortgage Specialists. Driven, trusted, reliable.
Click mtg-specialists.com. NMLS number 5918, Equal Housing Lender. Your Omaha Mavericks hockey team is back in action at Baxter Arena as the Mavs take on the top 10 ranked Denver Pioneers Friday and Saturday, January 19th and 20th. Get your tickets for these games and all remaining games as the Mavericks compete for the NCHC Championship. Let's pack the Baxter. Get your tickets now by calling the box office at 402-554-MAVS or by going to omavs.com/tigs.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home.
That's why I told my husband we could